This young man is completely bewildered, not understanding why just moments ago he was gaming and now he's suddenly in another world. The first scene that Fong Ha sees after opening his eyes is himself in a dense forest, and everything around seems unwelcoming to an outsider like him. As soon as Fong Ha fell, he was attacked by a swarm of spiders, and unfortunately, he's just a gaming addict who spends all day cooped up at home. The concept of a strong physique is completely unrelated to him. Running 50 meters in 12 seconds is already his best achievement. So under the pursuits of the spiders, Fong Ha ultimately couldn't escape. He was almost about to meet his end at 18. But he is the main character in this story. How could he possibly die uselessly under the claws of these tiny spiders? Fong Ha, unwilling to accept this fate, decided to fight back, and thankfully this world still has some conscience. After defeating monsters, rewards would drop in the form of mysterious light. These lights come in different colors, corresponding to different effective attributes. For example, the poison light helps Fong Ha detoxify. The essence light helps strengthen his body, while the speed light boosts his agility. Fong Ha was desperately fighting while continuously collecting attributes. Finally, he managed to fend off some of the poisonous spiders. He fought while retreating, and when he felt his strength waning, he decided to run, thinking that the spiders wouldn't catch up to him. Little did he know, he soon got lost in a fog, a hazy feeling quickly enveloping him, and then that strange white-haired man appeared before him. "You've nearly ruined my little project," the man said. Of course, Fong Ha had no idea about this man's background. But seeing him suddenly appear like that, he knew he wasn't an ordinary person, so to avoid being killed in one blow, he had to calm himself and speak up. "Who are you? I just accidentally killed a few spider monsters. How could that ruin anything for you?" "You have no idea how important those spiders are to me." The man gritted his teeth, saying, "It's been 3000 years since my ancestor had a proper meal. To roast those spiders and taste them, it took me 55 years just to lure one of those precious spider nests." Fong Ha was left speechless in shock, feeling that what he just heard seemed unreal. It looked like he had really crossed over. He had stumbled upon a strange being. He didn't understand how he ended up here, and why he was being brutally beaten by this strange person. But every experience felt incredibly real, so this couldn't be a dream. After absorbing the first light, Fong Ha felt his attack power weaken significantly. Currently, Fong Ha could face 2 of the soldiers at once, then absorb some of the attributes that dropped, increasing his combat strength. Gradually, he found the courage to confront that man. "My name is Fong Ha, no school, no sect," he declared boldly. And right after that, he threw another punch, shattering all of the man's soldiers. Then the spider waved his hand. "I've been taught well." In reality, contrary to his calm exterior, Fong Ha was panicking inside, feeling overwhelmed, but he managed to maintain a composed facade, making the man feel that he was quite impressive with innate divine power and strong mental fortitude. The inner turmoil of Fong Ha was chaotic when he saw his mother, but he managed to maintain a calm demeanor, which made the man feel that he was truly impressive, possessing both innate spiritual power and strong mental strength. There was just one thing that made him feel like Fong Ha's mind seemed a bit off, and that thought lingered. This stemmed from seeing Fong Ha's hands and feet flailing around. In reality, he was busy picking up attribute orbs, but since no one else could see them, they only saw him gathering leaves and cans. After a while of observation, he suddenly approached Fong Ha with a dangerous expression. "Kid, your spiritual power is very different from ordinary people. I want to pass on to you a unique skill. Are you willing to be my disciple?" As soon as Fong Ha heard this, his eyes lit up. This was it. This scenario felt so familiar, the male lead traveling through time, encountering a deity, receiving a powerful technique, then mastering it to dominate the world, right? Before he could respond, the white-haired man enthusiastically introduced the technique called Dreaming 3 Lives Decision. Once mastered, the soul would be indestructible. It could create dreams within dreams, distorting reality and seizing reincarnation. The more he heard, the brighter Fong Ha's eyes shone. He had no reason to refuse this temptation. He agreed to become the man's true disciple. "Teach me this technique right now, senior." Fong Ha was truly too easy to deceive. He fell into the trap of his opponent without realizing it. He sighed. Now the elder would impart the Dreaming 3 Lives decision to him. "I will now take you into the dream realm, and when you comprehend it, you will awaken automatically." As he spoke, he touched Fong Ha's forehead with 2 fingertips. A blinding golden light appeared, and Fong Ha's consciousness immediately shattered. He fell into a deep sleep, completely unaware of the scheming smile of the white-haired man. He felt as if his body was continuously sinking, surrounded by countless cards that seemed somewhat related to the attribute orbs. Fong Ha unconsciously reached out to touch them. Instantly, those cards emitted a stream of golden light. While outside, the man was extremely pleased, having left a total of 12 loopholes in the Dreaming 3 Lives decision. He was confident that Fong Ha's spirit was completely immersed in the incomplete technique and would soon be easily trapped by him. Who would have thought that not long after Fong Ha suddenly sighed and slowly awakened? At that moment, a dangerous smile appeared on his face, sending chills down the spine of the white-haired man. "Senior, I've realized something." "What did you realize?" The white-haired man seemed incredibly tense, stuttering his words. He had originally intended to deceive and bind Fong Ha as a sacrifice for himself, but who would have thought that Fong Ha truly had a connection with this technique? Fong Ha didn't hide it, and immediately revealed his encounter. The Dreaming 3 Lives decision had a total of 12 levels, and each time he mastered a level, he could grasp a type of powerful supernatural strength. These 12 supernatural powers combined could open a path to becoming a deity. Hearing him say this, that white-haired guy seems so stressed that he's stuttering now. He originally wanted to deceive and bind Fong Ha as a sacrifice for himself. Who would have thought that you actually have a connection with this incredible skill? Fong Ha didn't hide it and immediately shared his fortune. The Dreaming 3 Lives technique has a total of 12 layers, and each time you master a layer, you can gain a powerful supernatural ability. These 12 supernatural powers combined can open a path to becoming a god. Hearing you say this, that white-haired guy thought to himself that the Dreaming 3 Lives technique, founded by his ancestor, was divided into 9 realms, and this kid probably wouldn't grasp anything. So that's why you made up a story to trick the old man. If that's the case, he decided to play around with you until the end, especially if you said you had already had an encounter. Then he decided to visit your spiritual realm to test you one more time, while you, feeling relaxed, weren't afraid at all to speak a word of deceit. He clasped his hands together and invited him to quickly come and check him out. You closed your eyes, and that guy pointed his finger right at your forehead once again. This time, when you opened your eyes, countless rectangular blocks appeared above your head, stacked on top of each other, creating a scene that was both magnificent and strange. "Wow, is this your spiritual realm?" You couldn't help but exclaim, "Senior, how do you want to test me?" That guy also stared intently at your spiritual realm. He felt a bit uneasy inside. A person who can open a spiritual realm like this. It's truly rare. You being just a mortal with such a strong spiritual power are really impressive. Could it be that you weren't lying and actually realized something? But even so, what does it matter? You're just a mortal, and this old fox thinks you definitely won't escape his grasp. So he asked you what you understood. So just go ahead and use it to attack me with all your might. At first, you hesitated to strike, fearing you couldn't control the power you just grasped. However, the opponent said that he was not his true self right now, but just a split-off essence, a transformation of that essence. That was enough to be on par with an 8th-level celestial cultivator. You are just a mortal with innate spiritual power. Even if you go all out, you won't be able to harm him. Hearing him say that, you felt reassured and decided to strike. The next moment, above that white-haired guy, a gigantic lotus flower suddenly appeared. The first thought that crossed his mind upon seeing this was, "What the hell?" Just a second later, that enormous lotus directly descended, crushing him down like a dried shrimp. This was the first power of the Red Dream Lotus that you comprehended after launching your attack. You felt incredibly refreshed. Heaven bear witness that white-haired guy kept insisting you go all out, but now you couldn't see him anymore. Not seeing him was understandable, because his transformation had been destroyed by you. It would take him several decades to recover. To save face, he had to use a transformation to pretend he wasn't injured by your Red Dream Lotus to probe your full strength. "Kid, I'm right behind you." He suddenly spoke up after appearing behind you. You were really naive to think that this white-haired guy wasn't affected by your last move. Wow, Senior, your speed is incredible. You could directly sneak behind me like that. Your last move was too weak. You should just use the strongest move you've learned directly. He continued, saying that if he waited for the wind to take away all 12 powers, he might not have enough forms left to play with you, so he had to lure you into using your strongest technique. Hearing this, the wind was incredibly excited. He felt that the opponent was truly a kind-hearted elder who was trying to guide him like this. Little did he know that he was being led like a cow, touched by such a heartfelt gesture. Not wanting to disappoint the expectations of the other party, the wind immediately brought out his final and strongest technique. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 massive green lotus flowers appeared above his head. The white-haired guy's face immediately turned pale. Just one flower was already that powerful. Now with 3 times the strength, how terrifying would it be? He couldn't run away in time and couldn't resist. He could only endure the blow with destructive power that was no different from an atomic bomb. Dust and smoke filled the air, and for a moment the wind couldn't see anything. When the dust settled, he found that guy was nowhere to be seen. But he naively thought that he had dodged again. Indeed, he was a skilled person with profound power, not knowing that he had just shattered another form from the opponent's original spirit. Realizing the threat posed by the wind was not small this time, he wouldn't just stand still, but intended to forcibly capture him while the white-haired guy was still behind. The The wind had said he wanted to forcibly capture him, but as soon as he reached out to probe, his expression changed because he was afraid he felt like he was meeting a ghost. Just now, the wind had destroyed 2 of his forms without any cultivation at all. Moreover, he was also absorbing the opponent's original spirit to become his own mental power. The key point was that the wind devouring his original spirit was so powerful that he couldn't stop it himself. A moment later, realizing there was some movement behind him, the wind turned around and asked, "Elder, are you appearing behind me again?" As soon as he finished speaking, he was stunned by the sight before him. The white-haired guy, who was originally a head taller than him, had now turned into a tiny blob. The size was no different from a newborn baby. "Elder, why have you turned into this?" The wind picked him up in shock, asking with an innocent attitude that truly made the opponent want to die from anger but couldn't do anything, to be fair. Wasn't his transformation due to the wind? And yet, he still asked. At that moment, the wind's death realm also dissipated, and the 2 of them directly returned to the forest where they started, the white-haired guy biting his lip. He looked extremely aggrieved. He had continuously lost 3 avatars, his strength had decreased significantly, and not only was he directly expelled from the death realm, but the illusion also vanished. This was indeed a significant blow to him. "Elder, is this test valid?" The wind suddenly asked. Okay. The opponent hurriedly replied, fearing that if he delayed even a moment, the wind would unleash something to show off, causing his tiny form to be shattered as well. Then he yelled, "Let me go, 2 men hugging each other is so disgusting. Elder, you're overthinking it." The wind quickly let him go and added, "I have no ulterior motives with you. I just like girls with big breasts, long legs, and long hair." Upon hearing this, the opponent made a disgusted face, criticizing the wind for being vulgar. Seeing this, he quickly changed the subject, intending to let him admire a bit of his technique. Little did he know that when the other party saw his blue lotus flower, they erupted in anger, shouting to quickly put it away and telling the kid not to be so self-absorbed. At that moment, he still had no idea how powerful the Dreaming 3 Lives technique was for beings with abundant spiritual energy, while he and that white-haired guy were completely focused. As they concentrated on each other, a mysterious creature was slowly approaching them from behind. When the 2 heard the noise and turned around, the sight before them made blood rush from their noses. He almost spewed out like a broken pump because the person in front of him was none other than the tall, big-breasted, long-haired girl he had just mentioned. Upon seeing that girl, he couldn't hide his excitement while the white-haired guy remained calm, carefully examining her from top to bottom based on her aura. He quickly realized that she was a beast transformed into a human, but he had been sealed in this cursed abandoned land for 3,000 years, and this was the first time he had seen such a beast in human form. The woman of my dreams has actually appeared. After being single for 1,000 years, I can finally embrace love. He thought without considering whether the other party was dangerous or not. Instead, he dashed forward, arms wide open, wanting to hug the girl. As a result, he took a punch and was immediately knocked out, but even so, he couldn't be mad at this little girl. Although her temper was fiery, who could blame her for fitting his type of tall, big-breasted, long-haired girl? "I'll kill you!" Suddenly, the other party went berserk and charged at him. This time, she wanted to kick him, but since he was proactive, he managed to dodge it. "That's too dangerous. Domestic violence isn't something to joke about," he shouted, but it seemed like this girl wasn't someone who could be reasoned with, so he decided to fight back just as he was saying this. The aura of the Hong Meng variety of the green lotus had appeared. It was only at this moment that the girl stopped. Her rough and aggressive demeanor had softened somewhat because she realized that both he and the white-haired guy were too strong. After a moment of thought, this female beast suddenly unleashed a thick web of silk, and at that moment, he finally understood. The other party was the spider spirit. "Now you realize that you really are an idiot!" the white-haired guy yelled, but then, while they were busy untangling the web, the female monster had already run away. He was momentarily dumbfounded. This woman had actively sought him out to cause a ruckus and then ran off. What's going on? Perhaps the spider nest you destroyed still has a spirit left seeking revenge, but it ran into a stronger opponent and fled. That's just the instinct of a beast. The white-haired guy explained, and he couldn't help but sigh, thinking it was a heavenly fate. Now the tall, big-breasted, long-haired girl had also run away. He looked down at his feet and saw something. It looked like a few seeds were moving restlessly, and a sense of unease rose in his heart. He then asked the elder, "What sudden situation has appeared now?" You then asked the senior what sudden situation had arisen now. This white-haired guy replied with a face completely drained of color. "This is the abandoned ancient land where the gods have turned their backs, starting anew from the highest mountain." Suddenly a gate appeared and a few young people stepped out. With faces full of astonishment, they exclaimed, "Is this really the abandoned ancient land we actually succeeded?" The group of young people was incredibly joyful. They had previously found an ancient book that mentioned this ancient land would open once every 300-600 years, so they came here to try their luck. As a result, they were lucky enough to enter the ancient land, and everyone unanimously believed that their chance for revival had finally come. Meanwhile, just as they stepped through the gate, the old fox beside Feng Ha also noticed this. His face immediately darkened, and he couldn't help but sigh. So there are really people who go to such a cursed place isolated from the outside world. To find treasures, huh? What a bunch of fools. He had been in this ancient land for 3,000 years. Don't even mention treasures or anything like that. Even the only creature here is this black jade spider. That's why he hadn't had any savory food for 3,000 years. Seeing him holding some skewers of roasted spider meat, Feng Ha couldn't help but evaluate, "Are you really wanting to eat this, senior?" Upon seeing Feng Ha's doubtful gaze, the other party immediately jumped up. "You really don't know how to appreciate good things. This is a supreme delicacy. Once roasted, it'll taste just like the blue crab from the East Sea." After saying that, he quickly gobbled down several pieces, but Feng Ha still hesitated to put the spider meat in his mouth. Yet half an hour later, he found himself eating continuously. This time, that white-haired guy truly didn't deceive him. The roasted spider meat was indeed delicious. The two of them kept eating and couldn't stop. Feng Ha felt that this old fox was kind, not only teaching him extraordinary skills, but also sharing a meal he hadn't had in 3,000 years. So he suggested, "Senior, think about it. If the abandoned ancient land has become so desolate, why not leave with me?" Before the other could respond, another voice rang out, "He can't go anywhere." Both of them jumped in surprise. The owner of that voice was the Spider Girl. Earlier, when she fled, she swore that she would return for revenge once she grew stronger, but her return seemed a bit too quick. This didn't follow the storyline at all. The two skewers of spider meat in their hands were snatched away by her. The old fox was furious. "How dare you fight me for food? You don't want to live anymore, do you?" As he spoke, he charged at her, wanting to settle things, but Feng Ha stopped him because he wanted to hear the girl explain clearly what she had just said. "What do you mean by saying that the senior can't get out of here? He's been sealed here by someone," the spider girl explained while munching on her own kind. "Unless the one who sealed him agrees to release him or someone stronger comes to rescue him, he won't be able to escape. But I fear that person would have to be a deity to have that kind of power. But I'm afraid that one must become a god first to have this kind of ability." Feng Ha let out a gasp and innocently turned to ask the old fox how one could become a deity. Because you really want to save him, he trembled all over after hearing that feeling that Feng Ha was indeed delusional. "Do you even know what you're talking about, kid? In the prime of my ancestor's time, he only reached the third level of the divine realm, and the distance to true divinity was still a whopping 80,000 miles away." Feng Ha let out another exclamation. "But you don't even know what the divine realm is." Upon hearing this, the other person immediately scoffed, calling you ignorant for not grasping even this basic knowledge. "And yet you still aspire to become a deity." He patiently explained to Feng Ha about this world. Those who cultivate are called divine practitioners, and their cultivation is divided into 8 realms from low to high: opening cycle realm, divine practitioner realm, Taoist realm, and essence nurturing realm. Then there's the law correspondence realm, the true spirit realm, the divine realm, and the highest is the celestial realm. To break through from one level to the next, one must endure layer upon layer of challenges. Finally, after reaching the highest limit of the celestial realm, one must also go through the thunder tribulation to become a deity. Therefore, the number of people who truly become deities can be counted on one hand. Feng Ha, after hearing this explanation, couldn't hide his excitement. "Senior, you're at the divine realm. Isn't that very powerful?" "Wrong, my ancestor is not just powerful." The other person immediately corrected him, then boasted, "He was extremely powerful. The strength of my ancestor back then was enough to mock the entire continent. Except for the royal family, no one could defeat me." Watching him strut around, it was clear he thought he was invincible, but the spider lady wasn't going to let him brag for too long. She immediately retorted, "That was you back then, and you now are sealed here. You can't do anything anymore." She truly didn't care about anyone. Her sharp words pierced through the fragile heart of that old fox. Feng Ha hurriedly supported him, calming him down a bit. Then he also said that the other party had helped him a lot, and he was someone who repays kindness. Therefore, he would do his utmost to repay him by becoming a deity and helping him break free from this seal, escaping this cursed place. Although becoming a deity was nearly impossible, seeing him so determined. The old fox was so moved he couldn't speak, and the girl, at this moment, had finished eating the spider meat, feeling that the act of Feng Ha and that white-haired guy was too much of an eyesore. She threw the skewer at them. At the same time, she scoffed, "These two only know how to talk big." Fortunately, both Feng Ha and the old fox managed to dodge. Otherwise, at least one of them would have lost an eye. Returning to the group of divine practitioners who had just successfully entered the ancient site earlier at this moment, the only female disciple in their group was incessantly clinging to the guy surnamed Bai, who was called the senior brother, asking this and that. Senior brother, if you can obtain the earth-shattering opportunity from this ancient divine sight, you will definitely become a powerful practitioner in the opening cycle realm, right? The main purpose of this trip is still for the future of our heavenly eternal valley. Bai Senior brother tried to respond calmly, but he couldn't help but say he was just a man after all. It's all for the future of our heavenly eternal valley. Bai Shixiong tried to respond calmly, but he couldn't help but admit that he was just a man after all. It was really hard to keep a calm mind when the opponent's huge chest accidentally brushed against him. Even the other disciples sensed that something was off with the little junior sister today, but they couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. Suddenly, the meat skewer that the spider spirit threw was dodged by Feng Ha and flew straight into the forehead of Bai Shixiong, causing the male disciple next to him to shout out loud, "Senior brother, don't panic, it seems like it's just a bamboo skewer." Bai Shixiong pulled the skewer out of his forehead while trying to reassure his little brother at that moment. The group of people just noticed that Feng Ha's group was grilling meat right in front of them and had heard the entire conversation. The old fox couldn't help but chuckle. A powerful being in the opening cycle realm, a hidden weapon? Ha ha ha, what a joke! Look at these people appearing in a place abandoned by the gods. The group was quite surprised for about 2 seconds after that. The female disciple in the group was the first to react, drawing her sword and shouting, "Senior brother, be careful! The woman in that group is the demoness of Baiwu sect." Without waiting for anyone to respond, she fiercely slashed out, "Demoness, how dare you harm my senior brother, surrender your life." Seeing this, Feng Ha was also startled and quickly warned the spider lady to be careful, but it seemed that this slash only hit her clone and didn't harm her. Seeing that the opponent was completely unharmed like that, the disciples of Heavenly Eternal Valley believed even more that she was the demoness of Baiwu sect, but she introduced herself as Chu Anyuan, not a demoness at all. Her tone and expression were anything but pleasant. At that moment, Feng Ha finally learned her name and realized that Chu Anyuan was a powerful being in the opening cycle realm. The Heavenly Eternal Valley disciples seemed a bit hesitant, but at this time, Bai Shixiong had come up with a plan, and then he drew his sword and charged straight at Chu Anyuan, encouraged enthusiastically by his little junior sister. Chu Anyuan also wanted to see what skills he had, but the blade coldly brushed past her, then stabbed straight towards Feng Ha, pressing against his neck just a hair's breadth away from his skin. Then Bai Shixiong warned Chu Anyuan, "For the sake of this female companion, if you don't want your people to get hurt, then obediently submit." It stabbed straight towards Feng Ha, just barely touching his skin. Then Brother Bai warned, "Chu Aonong, this female Taoist. If you don't want your people to get hurt, then obediently let yourself be tied up. Hey, I'm just a bystander here." Feng Ha was truly at a loss for words getting dragged into this ridiculous situation. Although the attack method of that senior brother was a bit underhanded, his little junior sister and junior brother still cheered him on, enthusiastically praising him for taking control of the situation. The situation has been controlled now. I apologize, my methods are a bit unscrupulous, but this ancient site is related to the bloodline and fortune of Heavenly Eternal Valley. Bai can't help but resort to this underhanded tactic. That senior brother said to Chu Anyuan, who could only sigh, and then replied, "I really am not a demoness of Baiwu sect or anything like that." Furthermore, the two words, "or anything." Before Chu Anyuan could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by the opponent with a rap battle. "Friend, no need to make excuses. Your appearance is quite special. Your clothing and makeup are the same. And the technique you just used revealed your identity. Now it's Feng Ha's turn to speak up. You're the one with a sword at my neck. At least let me say a few words to make it fair. But I don't know what love is for that white-haired girl. I also don't know what grievances you all have, but I really don't like having a sword pointed at me while talking." Feng Ha then raised his right hand and flicked the opponent's sword lightly, causing it to shatter instantly. The three disciples of the Heavenly Autumn Valley were completely stunned, while Feng Ha felt incredibly refreshed. "Sorry I picked the wrong soft persimmon. You're even weaker than I imagined." He said sorry while giving the opponent a light pat on the chest, but that gentle pat was enough to send that senior brother Bai flying about 10 meters away. Seeing him fall flat on the ground, Feng Ha felt a bit guilty. "Sure enough, you still haven't mastered the control of your strength. It seems that this time after knocking down the opponent, no light spheres fell out. It looks like defeating an enemy doesn't always guarantee that you get light spheres. You don't always get to gauge the strength of the light spheres that fall out, do you, senior brother? Are you okay?" Over there, the little junior brother was extremely worried, asking if that Bai guy was basically all right, but his sword was shattered. He was in great distress because this was a treasured sword personally given by his master. At this moment, Chu Aonu finally had the chance to speak. Originally, after the word girl, she intended to remind the opponent that Feng Ha was even stronger than her. Who would have thought he wouldn't even care? Seeing this, the person quickly knelt down, clasped his hands respectfully towards Feng Ha, and pleaded for forgiveness. I, Bai Thuong Hai, have eyes but failed to see Mount Tai and have offended the senior. May I ask which realm the senior is currently in? Fong Ha fell silent after hearing the opponent's question. It wasn't that he didn't want to answer, but he truly didn't know. After that, Fong Ha had to ask that old fox to check for him. He took out a golden brick-like object. The old fox examined it for a while and then said, "Your divine wheel hasn't opened yet. You're just an ordinary fighter. But cultivating to this brick level does have some power of the Taoic Supreme Realm." Upon hearing the words Taoic Supreme Realm, the disciples of the heavenly Autumn Valley gaped. What is the Taoic Supreme Realm? The old fox couldn't help but sneer when he heard them call Fong Ha a sovereign. You're already being called a sovereign just for reaching the Taoic Supreme Realm. If they knew he had once reached the Divine Bridge Realm, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Fong Ha could only sigh, not wanting to ruin the old ancestor's mood, and he didn't dare to say anything. But the reality is that times have changed. 3,000 years have passed enough to transform a civilization from nothing to something, and it could also cause the immortal cultivation civilization to decline. Nowadays, the Taoic Supreme Realm is an incredibly extraordinary existence. Just thinking about this, Fong Ha was pierced by a shrill voice. Everyone don't be fooled by him, that thing is basically not the Taoic Supreme Realm. It turned out to be the spirit sister who was always by Bai Thuong Hai's side. Hearing her say that, the little junior brother beside him thought it over and felt something was off. The Taoic Supreme Realm seemed to be very grand while Fong Ha's was too small. It was just like a brick used for building houses. If you are such a fake, then now I will force the impersonator to reveal their true form. She said this while launching a talisman straight onto Fong Ha's forehead. It's just like a brick used to build a house. If you are such a fake, then now I will force the imposter to reveal their true form. She said this while launching a talisman straight onto Fong Ha's forehead. You just time-traveled here. Your knowledge about this world is completely zero. Of course, you have no idea what that thing just tapped on your forehead is, so you can only keep asking your master to explain that this is a soul-binding talisman compared to those poor souls. This is already considered a luxury item. However, for someone at the level of a transcendent master or higher, it seems to have no effect on that junior spirit master. They all thought that Feng Ha was just a pretender, which is why she used this to control him. After that, she quickly added about the two senior brothers among them. Now, one person has already been bound by the soul-binding talisman. Let's take this opportunity to deal with the other two. As she spoke, she drew her sword ready to strike, but at that moment, Feng Ha, with an impatient expression, reached up to remove the talisman from his forehead, then sighed heavily. Who said I couldn't move? This action proved his strength indeed. At the very least, he had reached the level of a transcendent master. Moreover, Feng Ha had been feeling something was off for a while, and now his speculation needed some action to confirm it. Thinking of that, Feng Ha gathered his energy into a fist and aimed it straight at the junior spirit master, his speed incredibly fast. It made it impossible for Bai Chang Hai to rush in to save him. Sister, how long are you planning to hide? Feng Ha asked, to which he received a wicked smile from his opponent. With a punch, it felt like hitting a mirror, shattering it into pieces. Everything around was shaken by the impact, and after that shock passed. The other two disciples of Tianshu Valley were utterly horrified because the person standing there was not their junior spirit master. Wow, this brother is really brutal. It hurts so much. I'm really curious, when did you realize she wasn't the junior spirit master? Standing in front of Feng Ha was a girl dressed even more revealing than Chu Aonyang, the enchantress of Bai U sect, whose real name is Nan Vo U, and Feng Ha couldn't help but exclaim, how can the junior spirit master be the enchantress of Bai U sect? He raised his hand to cover his nose, sniffing a few times, and spoke. Her acting and magic might fool them, but to me, she's still quite obvious. Hearing this, he couldn't believe it and thought to himself, the tricks of the Bai U sect enchantress are very cunning. No one knows, no one sees. He even felt it was quite obvious. He chuckled softly. You're acting too poorly. Feng Ha changed his expression, his eyes shining brightly as he brushed off his hands. To be precise, it has to be said that it's really bad. Yu Jiang, he added, whether it's encouraging them to act or secretly launching hidden weapons and soul-binding talismans, you all look very rushed. Feng Ha pointed directly, declaring the truth. There is only one thing, and that is she is deliberately provoking her. She shyly replied, that's right. Then she threw the silks from her body towards him, shouting, let me show you my true skills. Quickly, Feng Ha caught those silks. It's useless. You can't defeat me, she said, continuously twisting and turning those silks, creating a tangled mess while laughing. Did I say I had to defeat you? Feng Ha quickly realized that these silks were an illusion technique. Vo U laughed loudly and ran away quickly. He chased after her, shouting, stop, miss, I advise you to surrender obediently. The road ahead is a dead end. But then Vo Yu suddenly jumps up, startling everyone. This is her escape route. She stretches out her hand and calls out loudly, goodbye! Remember my name, it's Nan Vo Yu. After saying that, Vo Yu leaps down, creating a winding path of flowers in the dark, deep space below. Thuong Hai, confused, asks why she jumped down. A thought flashes in his mind. No, he turns around to look into the thicket, realizing she's still nearby. Fong Ha's eyes then catch sight of bright lotus blossoms, his gaze directed at a tree that is exuding a gloomy aura. He softly says, "Don't hide anymore, come out." Indeed, Vo Yu peeks out from behind the tree, a small smile on her lips. She sticks out her tongue to lick her wrist and huffs lightly. Clearly, he was also fooled just now, right? Nha Nuong speaks up. Her appearance is quite alluring. He sighs, "You really are a chatterbox." She turns and asks, "Who are you talking to?" Fong Ha, puzzled, replies, "Aren't I talking to you?" But suddenly he spins around, exclaiming in shock, his curiosity evident. "Why are there two Chu Nha Nuong now?" Two identical figures cross their arms in front of their chests and ask, "Do you dare to turn into me?" Fong Ha grits his teeth, staring at the figure that just vanished. He concludes that this must be the real one. The two Nha Nuong then swing their arms, starting a brawl, shouting, "Fake shameless." The two identical figures charge at each other, unleashing a flurry of attacks. "Take that!" One Nha Nuong shouts as she swings her arm. The audience outside enjoys the show, clenching their fists in excitement, cheering. Now one person is tightly bound. One person is completely wrapped up. Fong Ha watches this scene, unable to contain his excitement nosebleed. Tran Hai then judges, "Why do you look so desperate for someone?" He then stuffs a cloth into Fong Ha's mouth, shouting, "Coward." Both Nha Nuong are still arguing with each other. One says, "You think you can hide like this? If it comes to binding, how can you outplay my true self?" At this moment, one Nha Nuong, tightly bound, clasps her hands together and shouts, "Chu Mang Pok!" Instantly, the ropes around her tighten, causing her to scream in pain. Immediately, that figure disappears, leaving only petals fluttering in the air. The Nha Nuong chases after, shouting, "Stop, come back!" She angrily mutters, "Where did she run off to? I lost focus for a moment." Just then, Thuong Hai approaches and expresses his gratitude for the rescue, saying urgently, "That treacherous woman from Bak U Tong is notoriously cunning and cruel. Without your help, I fear for my brother's safety." The young boy urges the senior brother, "You need to recover quickly. We must return to Tien Thu Kok." Thuong Hai insists, "We must find the opportunity in Tien Thu Kok. We can't give up just because of a few injuries." Hearing this, he leans on his hands, sighing. "Brother Fong Ha, you need to focus and sense the surroundings. This is a wasteland. Where could there be any opportunity here? You guys don't need to waste time like this. Hurry back." Hearing this, he is taken aback. "This wasteland has no opportunities." Then Thuong Hai presses the sword against his neck and shouts, "Does the heavens want to punish Tien Thu Kok? Is that how it is for us?" The young boy, frightened, quickly stops his senior brother. "No, you can't." He looks at this scene helplessly. This overly enthusiastic guy seems a bit slow-witted, raising a finger. The kid, scared, hurriedly tried to stop the senior brother, saying, "No, you look at this scene feeling helpless. This overly enthusiastic guy seems a bit slow-witted, asking you to raise a finger. Lightly, my brother, let me ask you a few things. With a thumbs up, does it really mean that only the ancient divine artifacts hold the talents and treasures of the world? Moreover, is the most important thing to revive the Eternal Spring Valley really just the talents and treasures? Then why don't you just stay in the ground and cultivate those talents and treasures yourself?" He was like a light from the party, stammering as he replied that the most important thing about the Eternal Spring Valley now in the eyes of Thuong Hai was like an angel speaking about him. The words of Fong Ha. Like a bucket of water splashed directly onto Thuong Hai, he laughed loudly. "Opportunities are gifts from the heavens, not something everyone can choose. Life is held by the heavens. But everyone has the right to choose their life. There's no need to force it. Everything will be fine. As long as you take each step, the path of life will be at your feet. When you can't step over, learn to change direction and find a solution. Learn to forget during tough times. Learn to let go. If the fate is unclear, then let it flow as it will." He chuckled to himself. The words of those old men could scare the ancient ones into silence. Now he stood there, as his spirit had been shaken. Thuong Hai then spoke, "Senior, I understand now." Fong Ha chuckled softly. "What do you think you understand?" He quickly replied, "The path of cultivation is like water resisting a boat. Only by continuously moving forward can one stitch together the path." Thuong Hai's face was filled with determination. Staying in the Eternal Spring Valley could only be limited. "Wait for me to return to the sect." "Hello, fellow disciples," he heard and couldn't help but feel nauseous. Fong Ha raised his trembling hand in anger, cursing silently. So that's what this guy means. He wanted to slap him awake, but the kid was desperately trying to stop him. "Senior brother, you can't go." The kid cried out, "The court is declaring martial law, wanting the Eternal Spring Valley, and is coming to our sect. What will happen if you go to the Eternal Spring Valley?" Hearing this, Fong Ha was a bit puzzled. "What about the Eternal Spring Valley? Is there really a martial law court? Why would they attack you?" Thuong Hai picked up a stone and sighed. It's a long story. The martial law court has ambitions to dominate the world. Their strength is weak compared to the first Holy Land, the Eternal Spring Valley, he recounted, remembering that year. Does anyone not know that the Eternal Spring Order was established to subdue the martial law 300 years ago? The great disciple escaped, and the sect suffered severe losses overnight. From being the most revered to ashes, the court took advantage of the situation. The kid proudly said, "Seen your brother when you leave." The traitor of the great disciple from 300 years ago at worst would have their cultivation abolished. Thuong Hai spoke softly. At best, they would be executed as a warning. Hearing this, Fong Ha was bewildered. Wait, what? Suddenly, feeling the seriousness of the situation, he raised his hand to scratch his chin, pondering. After crossing over, it was all just frustrating matters that could bring disaster upon oneself. This is too difficult. It wouldn't be because of my words that the Eternal Spring Valley, which was bound to end sooner or later, would suddenly end right away. Fong Ha sank into thought, calmly analyzing a bit. Right now, there are 3 paths to take. The Eternal Spring Valley was originally the best choice, but too much enthusiasm could lead to accidents, and I fear the elders would 6-9 me. The martial law nation is bound to be embroiled in political struggles. Helping the military is like helping a tiger. Even if it doesn't work out, one could lose their head easily. It seems there are no opportunities in this world. If I go into cultivation, I might just starve to death. Fong Ha raised both hands to pat his cheeks, calming himself. At this moment, being agitated would ruin the mission. I'll play it to the end. He then threw his arm over Thuong Hai's shoulder and chuckled softly. My dear Bai, I just came out not long ago and need to find a place to rest. Bai Thuong Hai is like a gentle summer breeze in my father's eyes. Warmth from the autumn breeze suggested that if not, we could go to the heavenly Eternal Valley for a while, and on the way we could ask a bit. What do you think? He couldn't help but feel touched. Senior, are you willing to help me tidy up this mess? I will never forget your kindness, Senior. If there's anything I can do to help Bai Thuong Hai in the future, I will definitely dive into the fire and water without hesitation. Tran Hai, who was behind, listened to their conversation with a frown. Thuong Hai asked the senior when we would leave. He replied, I'll get ready first. That little brat Fong Ha is also getting ready at the same time. The ancient divine artifact sealed the great Tran. Tran Hai shouted angrily, I see it and it makes me furious. Tran Hai, the old ancestor, hasn't caught it yet. That kid's body is still harmed, yet has so much power. He had already planned to run with someone else. He picked up the puppet in his hand and stabbed it with a needle, saying, Give me a chance, old ancestor, and I will definitely teach you a lesson. Suddenly, a pair of long, slender legs approached. A melodious voice rang out, I greet the esteemed master of the Three Births Electric Non-Clan Tran Hai Ni. She, or rather the carefree girl, clasped her hands and bowed respectfully. Still, the carefree girl greeted the old ancestor, Greetings, esteemed ancestor. He stood up and softly said, So you're the heir of the Non-Clan. She introduced herself, I am the 41st heir of the Non-Clan. Tran Hai listened seriously as she spoke about the Three Births Electric Non-Clan, waiting for the ancestor to respond. Hearing this, he felt a bit happy. After 3000 years, there are still people from the Three Births Electric Clan. That's good. She clasped her hands together and informed the esteemed ancestor, 3000 years have passed, and this time the human secret realm is opening again. Tran Hai thought to himself, This girl looks like she's not an ordinary type. So respectful to the elders, huh? Then he sighed. Girl, it's not that the secret realm is hard to keep, but it's the great ceiling formation beneath my feet. At that moment, a circle of magic formations beneath them lit up. The carefree girl was stunned. The ceiling formation, Tran Hai softly said. That thief made me be sealed. How rude. The ancestor was both suppressed and sealed. He spread his hands, indicating that no matter how much power the ancestor accumulated, this great formation would absorb more than 90% of it. She wondered, Isn't that like losing? What can we do against it? Hearing this, Tran Hai pressed his hand to his forehead, feeling helpless. He thought to himself, What's more important is that I originally just left some power. But that rude brat Fong Ha has made me exhausted. This embarrassing matter shouldn't be let Van Boy hear. At that moment, the ancient divine artifact's exit to the secret realm appeared before everyone. Fong Ha clasped his hands. Senior Chu, you don't need to see me off anymore. The girl moved closer and said, I wouldn't normally see you off, but if you follow me, there will be roasted meat to eat. I have to go with you. Are you a bit confused? Before you wanted to kill me for what? The girl explained, Because you turned part of my body into skewered meat. Suddenly she realized, Right, I should have killed you instead. Hearing this, Fong Ha couldn't help but cry. This isn't as easy as paying the electricity and water bills. The girl continued, But if I kill you, where will I get skewered meat to eat? She was helpless. Her brain wasn't that smart. Tran Hai placed a hand on Feng Ha's shoulder to comfort the little beast. With the power of the Viton, you can act without thinking. Just wait until we get out of the secret realm. You'll understand soon. Feng Ha turned back, agreeing. Right, we're about to leave the secret realm. Then he hugged him tightly, crying out, Senior, you have to wait for me. I'm sure I'll come back to save the tied-up Hai who is crying out now. All right, hurry up and get out of here. Once everything was settled, everyone headed home. You waved goodbye, saying, See you later, Senior, while he glared at you and shooed you away. It's best not to come back, Feng Ha said as he turned to leave. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew towards him, a powerful aura rushing in, causing Feng Ha to pause. The lotus flower on his forehead immediately began to glow, and at that moment, Tran Hai was charging out from within that aura. Seeing this, he was startled and called out to his senior. Instantly, their lips met, and an awkward air filled the space between them. The force knocked them hard into the teleportation gate, and they were ejected, leaving everyone stunned. Tran Hai and Feng Ha stood up together, both feeling nauseous. They turned back to look at each other in confusion, and his loud voice rang out, Elder, why are you out here? The ancient divine energy in the Great Ceiling Formation smiled faintly. Wu Yu also exclaimed, It's out. My primordial spirit has emerged. Tran Hai shouted loudly, Elder, great elder, can't we also leave this ridiculous place? Then he hugged his face and shouted, 3,000 years. Finally, I, Tran Hai, am about to be free. Tran Hai summoned the fire energy in his hand and shouted, Elder Tran Hai, I'm about to be free today. No one can keep me here. He then unleashed a fireball, laughing as the powerful formation still held its strength, crashing into the magical circle. It created a blinding light dust rising into the air with continuous thunderclaps echoing. A question arose, the formation is still active. She looked up at the elder. That formation is unusual. Tran Hai's eyes were filled with confusion. What is going on? He turned and shouted, You girl, hurry and hide! As soon as he finished speaking, a beam of powerful light struck down, hitting Tran Hai directly. His screams echoed as white smoke filled the space, and he shouted loudly, Great Elder! At this moment, he appeared, grumbling, That old thief, this formation can't hold me back. He doesn't have the guts to fight me. She anxiously called out to the elder. Now his long silver hair had been burned into a tangled mess on Tran Hai's head. He reassured, Don't worry, this little spark can't hurt me, while feeling dissatisfied in his mind. The primordial spirit of the elder can come out, but the main body is still trapped in here. Could it be related to that brat Feng Ha? Wu Yu's gaze darkened as she recalled to welcome the elder. The young girl had gone through many hardships only to receive such a result. He replied, Don't be too upset, Tran Hai. He pointed up, indicating that although the elder couldn't leave here, he could help cultivators to bring out powerful beings, which was not a problem. Wu Yu was overjoyed upon hearing this, thanking the elder. He spread his hand, revealing Tran Hai standing there speaking softly. Elder, I will teach you the 3 lives dream technique, but you also have a task. After learning, you must teach that Feng Ha a lesson for the elder. Tran Hai clenched his fist, determined to show its essence to the elder. The next day, the traveler Feng Ha, Tran Hai's voice rang out. Feng Ha Senior, we've arrived at the Star City. He continued speaking to the junior sister who was with us until we reached the city of Stardust, and I thought that was the moment when the enchanting woman had the chance to impersonate you after she left with me. You probably don't have time to deal with the junior sister, so if your junior sister is still alive, she must be hidden here by that enchanting woman. You keep firing questions about what your junior sister is like. What's her personality like? Just say a bit to avoid us being deceived by that crazy enchanting woman. Thuong Hai smiled shyly, and Feng Dao Hu probably didn't know someone praised the crane number of the spirit language Quin Deep softly and silently. Hearing this, Feng Ha denied what his brother said, That's not me, and the expression on the boy's face and his was full of delight and admiration, describing the outstanding appearance of the junior sister. She is talented and has a gentle personality. From the elders on the mountain to the ordinary disciples, no one doesn't like her. Both were excited to recount that the junior sister was ranked 3rd on the list. The companions who wanted to form a bond with her insisted that we must find her. Suddenly, a voice called out from outside, Finally found you guys! Jiangu pouted a bit and scolded her senior brother. Where did you all run off to, leaving me here alone? Both were astonished, exclaiming, Lin Su Moi Thuong Hai, as if they couldn't believe their eyes, peeking out to ask, Is that really Lin Su Moi? The boy was confused. The enchanting woman didn't bring her along. The junior sister, hearing this, looked puzzled. What are you all talking about? I don't understand at all. Feng Ha noticed the girl was sniffing something. He immediately asked, Miss Chu, what are you sniffing? She confirmed that her scent was very similar to that of the enchanting woman. Feng Ha raised his hand, his eyes shining brightly like a lotus flower smirking, then let me investigate her. His gaze immediately turned towards Gyai-ngu. Feng Ha and the girl thought to themselves that they had learned quite a few bad things from Fu Mong 3 Sin Quiet. Tran Hai chuckled, thinking this time he probably wouldn't see through it. His gaze fell on Gyai-ngu, who was standing outside. The girl asked, "Did the enchanting woman turn into her?" Feng Ha lowered his hands and replied, "This time I can't tell if she's in disguise." She raised her hand to sniff again, puzzled. Could it be that all women's scents are the same? Tran Hai pondered. It seemed that his crash course training was still effective. Thuong Hai had now stepped down, holding her shoulders, and said loudly, "Junior sister, why are you here?" "The enchanting woman didn't take you away?" Yang-gu asked in confusion. "Didn't the senior brother say this search is very dangerous and told me to stay in the city of Stardust? What's this enchanting woman thing?" He turned to look behind him. Feng Daohu Feng Ha raised a finger, signaling that it was over. Seeing this, Thuong Hai turned back and laughed heartily. "All right, you really are forgetful." He spoke softly. "As long as you're safe, that's good. That way I can rest assured to leave Tianthu Valley and take on the identity of a wandering cultivator." Hearing this, she was stunned. "Senior brother, you betrayed the sect?" The boy called out. "Junior sister, don't be shocked Lin Su Mue really can't handle the blow. Quickly give her some tranquilizers." Ao Nuong spoke up. "Aha! I still feel something's off about her." Feng Ha concluded, "Let's observe her a bit longer." As time passed a few minutes later, after a moment of worry, Jai-ngu spoke up. "Senior brother, you were joking just now, right?" Transmitted to the sect master, Thuong Hai replied sternly, "I'm not joking about our sect. I will personally report to the sect master." He raised his hand, signaling not to discuss this anymore. "Let me introduce you to someone fated. I met them at the ancient divine artifact site." Thuong Hai turned to look at the three people introducing. On the right is Senior Feng Ha, a master of the Dao stage. On the left is Chu Ao Nuong, the companion of the senior. The one in the middle must be something like the assistant of Senior Feng. Tran Hai, hearing this, was unwilling and angrily shouted, Damn it, I am Tran Hai, not some object," Jiang-gu asked in confusion. "Senior Feng, do you already have a companion?" Hearing that immediately made Hai feel sympathetic, and the boy quickly became alert. Feng Ha hurriedly denied, "It's not what you think. What does Ban Duong mean?" "Can we eat it?" Seeing this, she smiled with delight. "So that's it, that's great." He thought to himself, "Does this girl have feelings for me?" He chuckled to himself. "Feng Ha, you lecherous fool, get ready to fall for the beauty's trap." And then the carriage sped away. The scene shifted to Tienthu Kok. A loud shout shook the heavens. "Bak Thuong Hai, you are the sinner." In the living room of Tienthu Kok, a hand pointed directly at Thuong Hai, shouting loudly. "Do you even know what you're saying?" Loa Tiu shouted angrily. "Do you know this is betraying the sect?" This was Loi Tiu, the grand elder of Tienthu Kok. Bak Thuong Hai clasped his hands together, his brows furrowed quietly, acknowledging "I understand," as he noticed the sharp gaze of the elder. With a wave of his hand, Loi Tiu summoned his power. "Disciple of mine, do you want to leave the sect?" He looked at the boy and asked directly, "Is it because of you that he was seduced?" Feng Ha, hearing this, felt confused. "Are they all trying to use force to reason with me here?" Loi Tiu shouted angrily, "It's you who taught my disciple well." After that, Loi Tiu unleashed powerful attacks, the energy enveloping the space around him, his voice deep. "I must treat this esteemed guest well." Loi Tiu waved his hand, launching an attack, shouting loudly, "Secret technique of Tienthu Kok Xuan Thu Nat Ki Kiem Quiet." Instantly, countless arrows shot towards him. Feng Ha quickly realized it was a clone technique, and a loud explosion erupted, white smoke billowing everywhere. He shouted, "You sinner, where have you been hit by that Feng guy?" Thuong Hai anxiously replied, "Feng Senior has already touched the master. You forgot to use the Lu Li Kan." Loi Tiu retorted, "I don't need to use that Lu Li Kan." Behind him, 6 elders were holding a piece of watermelon, watching intently, their eyes wide, as Loi Tiu shouted, "I have long mastered the sword heart." Right in front of my eyes, he swung his hand, launching a direct attack at the 6 elders, shouting, "I don't need that cumbersome Lu Li." Thuong Hai, seeing this scene, panicked and shouted, "Master, stop, you're going to hit the 6 elders. Feng Senior isn't there." The girl covered her eyes with both hands, falling into a state of confusion. "Is this old man blind?" he thought helplessly. "I'm about to go blind." Just then, Loi Tiu called out, "Hey, are you the Feng Senior of that rebellious kid?" Feng Ha stepped forward, suppressing her anger. "Loi Daohu, just call me Feng Ha. There's a reason for this, but—" Loi Tiu raised his hand filled with fiery intent and smiled wickedly. "Good, you admit it, that's enough. Take a strike from me first." Before he finished speaking, he launched a powerful attack right in front of Feng Ha, who sighed. "Senior, can you really call that a sword?" He suddenly froze. "Senior, where did Tran Hai go? Don't tell me he got knocked away. At the same time. In some corner of the yard, you were dragged by Tiu, attacked and knocked out with the shout of the kid, 'Don't run.' And Tran Hai was now pointing directly at Jiang-gu, cursing. Useless, a whole line of people seduced by the wind and yet couldn't find anything. Her identity, she sobbed, explained that the master had no other way at that time on the road. Jiaingu, with a grateful look and hearts continuously shooting towards the two people, Tran Hai concluded that your feelings were all placed on that spirit spider. He just asked, "Forget it, we've already found it." She replied, "According to the master's instructions, I have found the Lianda." Tran Hai looked at the glowing ring, pondering about the ring that receives spiritual creatures. The soul-nurturing ring transported them to the Tianthu Valley. Deep in the forest, a loud explosion erupted violently. The shock resonated throughout the forest. Theo was swinging his hands, launching an attack, shouting loudly to receive you, quickly getting into position with both hands ready to counterattack immediately as the wind descended to strike. Breaking through his energy arrow, Theo laughed loudly. "Feng Daohu, you are indeed very spirited, facing me without a hint of fear on your face." Humble, not at all. Then softly added, "Isn't it because Daohu Tiu deliberately made a big commotion and used all fake moves?" Hearing that his eyes slightly narrowed, becoming dark, Feng Ha continued, "So you pretended to have bad eyesight, pushed others away to lure me here? Is there something secretive you can't say?" Tiu sighed, clasped his hands, and spoke in a deep voice, "I thank you, Daohu. Although I don't know your purpose, my disciple encountered the demoness of Bakyu sect. If it weren't for your help, they would probably be frolicking in the underworld by now." Feng Ha felt a bit awkward, scratching his face, then thought to himself, well, at least it's good. It seems no one mentioned that the wound Bai Tuong Hai suffered was caused by himself. At this moment, Tiu hesitated to speak. "Feng Daohu, actually I have thought about letting that kid leave the sect." Long ago, Feng Ha was a bit stunned. "What?" he sighed. "I have hinted at him many times, but he always pretended to ignore it." Tia's eyes dimmed, a hint of tension showing. The talent of that child. Could completely reach a better sect and achieve a higher realm. "You were curious. Little Bai, how did he end up in the Tianthu Valley?" He picked up a wine bottle, opened it, and replied, "It's simple." Tiu reminisced. "Initially, when I came down the mountain, I saw him about to starve on the roadside, so I casually gave him a few buns. Since then, he was determined to stay with the Tianthu Valley." Feng Ha spoke up. "Now he has decided to leave the Tianthu Valley." He gently set the bottle down. It's probably because he wants to find a way to revive. The Tianthu Valley in the outside world, after having a bit of alcohol, his spirits were lifted. Tiu then exclaimed loudly, "That's the best. Still, we shouldn't go back. The people of Tianthu Valley have been striving until today, still unable to transform, even forever unable to transform. If he continues to stay here, it would just be a waste of his talent." You turn to ask Tiu. Everything has its own motives. No one knows what will happen next. Tiu turned sharply to Feng Daohu, his voice frighteningly deep. One night, the heavenly autumn valley poured down from the peak of Cao, and who benefited the most? It was the one who gained from it. How could we let the heavenly autumn valley rise again? Hearing this, Feng Ha felt uneasy. Tu Yenvu Kwok covered his mouth and whispered, "There are spies in the heavenly autumn valley, you know." Instantly shocked by the mention of spies, Feng Ha's eyes widened. He scoffed. "Loi Daohu, what kind of technique did Tu Yenvu Kwok use? I have a way to help you find the traitor." Hearing this, he became immediately interested and asked, "You want to wade into this murky water of the heavenly autumn valley?" Feng Ha replied, "Feng Mao has a connection with the heavenly autumn valley and will fully support you." After reaching an agreement, he secretly smiled. If Loi Daohu agreed, he would stay and train with the disciples of the heavenly autumn valley. Who knows, he might clarify the principles of those light orbs. At that moment, Loi Tiu turned around and reminded him, "I advise you to leave, it's better for my disciple. Avoid losing your life in this murky water." Feng Ha quickly replied, "I really have a way." He wielded the sword in his hand, his sharp gaze fixed, saying, "Without any basis holding my sword," Loi Tiu softly asked, "Let me see if you have this ability." Seeing this, Feng Ha was truly taken aback. After finishing his words, Loi Tiu laughed loudly and soared toward Feng Ha. He quickly delivered a powerful slashdown where Feng Ha stood, creating a terrifying explosion that sent him tumbling through the air. Realizing the force was incredibly strong, Feng Ha quickly dove down to the ground, clenching his fists tightly, a smirk on his lips, ready to unleash a punch with tremendous power. The attack landed on Loi Tiu's hand, and with it the sword was knocked away, soaring above the area. Finally, it plunged forcefully into the ground. Feng Ha smirked. "Loi Daohu, how do you feel about me now?" Loi Tiu looked at his trembling hand and stammered, "The physical strength is truly terrifying. Tuong Hai really didn't lie. If it were a powerful figure in the Dao stage, they would naturally have this ability." His gaze sharpened, but what I say directly about the situation of the Heavenly Autumn Valley today is truly hard to believe, suddenly having a powerful figure in the Dao stage to support us. Loi Tiu raised his voice. "If you really want to help the Heavenly Autumn Valley, then let me see your true strength." After finishing his words, countless glass walls rose around them and they were surrounded. He shouted, "The sword heart's spiritual connection will reveal my heart. Feng Daohu, you've offended me." Feng Ha fell into a dilemma, thinking to himself, I truly agreed to help the Heavenly Autumn Valley, but I absolutely cannot reveal my unique abilities. He clasped his hands together, and streams of energy began to rise, activating the Hong Huang technique. Energy surged violently, and above the Tutan Lien, a radiant orb appeared, illuminating the entire space with a swirling aura. Instantly, Loi Tue's glass walls were completely shattered, shards flying everywhere. He fell into a state of confusion, coughing up large amounts of blood, bewildered. What kind of energy is this? How could this happen? He clutched his chest, thinking to himself, it completely shattered my sword heart's spiritual connection, while Feng Ha bent down to pick up a glowing pill from the ground. He muttered, got it. He picked it up, looked at it, and smiled, realizing, so that's how it is. This is indeed the spiritual connection of the radiant sword heart that old man brought. Feng Ha then clenched his hand around the sword heart's spiritual connection, which once cultivated, brought forth the radiant sword heart. It can illuminate the hearts of people and reveal their true nature. He then absorbed it all into himself. While Loi Tue was still in shock, Feng Ha spoke up, Loi Daohu, if you're done attacking. With a glint in his eyes, he added, now it's my turn to show my move. He was utterly astonished, exclaiming, how can this be? Your images appeared countless times in the mirror, causing Loi Tue immense pain. Feng Ha pointed and smiled lightly. What's so surprising about this? That's a real sword shining brightly. Meanwhile, in front of the elder Long Tue was feeling a bit anxious about why he hadn't returned yet. He clasped his hands together and prayed, please, heavens, let the senior be merciful. Master, please don't let anything happen. At that moment, the little girl behind him called out, I'm hungry, where's the kitchen? But Tue still showed no concern. Whispering, he couldn't shake off his worries. His stomach kept rumbling and he clenched his fists, determined to check on the situation. I can't believe Hai just keeps moving on without a care. The girl's face twisted up like a monkey eating ginger, almost dead from anger, when suddenly someone from afar spoke up. Isn't this Bak Hai messing up the sex mission? A blonde guy appeared, his voice dripping with sarcasm. What's wrong? You already see me. This is Diep Duk, the direct disciple of Elder Six, he said, pushing Diep Ruk aside and shouting, don't block my way, I don't want to bicker with you right now. He raised his voice. That Bak guy. So now you know what arrogance is, huh? Diep Ruk raised his hand, counting mockingly. It's been a long time. That con artist from the Jianghu must have been beaten to death, right? Hai couldn't hold back anymore and charged in shouting, Diep Duk, don't spread rumors here. Nonsense, Fong, my senior is not a con artist from the Jianghu. But quickly he raised his hand to counter, and both of them fell into a brawl amidst whispers and gossip. Oh, it looks like Bak and Deep are about to clash. Behind the girl, who was starving and sweating, she kept asking, where's the kitchen? Is there food? Where's the kitchen? Diep Duk grabbed Hai's hair, grumbling, Bak Hai, oh Bak Hai, you must be shocked that you can't fight back against me. While you were out searching for treasures, my strength skyrocketed. A shield appeared above his head, and Diep Ruk, full of arrogance, declared, have you seen the Divine Wheel yet? Today, I am already a powerful cultivator of the Divine Wheel realm. The Divine Wheel realm of cultivators reaches the peak when they cultivate 8 Divine Wheels. He pressed down on Hai, growling. Today, I will clean up the trash that is you on behalf of your master. Just as he finished speaking, a small, delicate foot kicked straight into Diep Duk's face, and the girl shouted, honestly, no one listens to me. She kicked him down and demanded, tell me where the kitchen is. Everyone outside gasped in unison, 8 Divine Wheels. The scene shifted to Tuonglan Mountain, where Tue Loi had now collapsed on the ground, and Feng Ha anxiously asked, Loi, are you okay? He waved his hand, shattering the glass wall softly. I was just testing my new powers a little. You haven't even made a move yet? Hearing this, he couldn't help but feel confused. You haven't made a move yet. Loi Tue slowly stood up and asked, did you just comprehend the sword intent of Feng Daohu? May I ask how long you have been practicing swordsmanship? He rubbed his chin, pleased, and replied, I must have just comprehended it. I haven't practiced swordsmanship even once. Hearing this felt like a bolt from the blue, making Loi Tue think to himself, what a load of nonsense, he hasn't practiced swordsmanship even once. How could he comprehend sword intent? I've spent years of hard training to comprehend sword intent. His gaze fixed on Feng Ha. Could it be that he is... Loi Tue approached, cupping Feng Ha's face with both hands, and said loudly, I heard there's a type of innate talent called the Spirit Saint body, beautiful and gifted, able to understand and learn at a glance. Isn't that just you, Feng? Feng Ha scratched his face, smiling shyly. I'm not as impressive as the rumors say. Not every time can I learn something. But in his mind, he chuckled, surprised that this world had such legends. So I can understand my own special abilities now. Feng Ha flexed his arms and gently patted the mouse. But Loi Daohu, With my abilities, I could help the Tianthu Valley. Loi Tiu hugged his chest, feeling moved, and thought deeply. I truly appreciate you, Feng Daohu. The incredible power that he doesn't show clearly is probably because he's afraid of getting hurt. This character is truly worth trusting, and he respectfully clasped his hands in gratitude, unable to express his thanks enough. Earlier you mentioned that you could help our heavenly Eternal Valley find the spy. I wonder what the plan is. Feng Ha clapped his hands, expressing that with my abilities, as long as I train alongside your disciples, I can identify who among them is using techniques outside of Heavenly Eternal Valley. That way we can find the mole. Liu Xiao's eyes immediately lit up with the clever idea, and then the two intertwined their arms, insisting that it all depended on Feng, my friend. I will definitely do my best to cooperate. You can rest assured and leave it to me. At this moment, after a round of chaos, the elder Feng Ha felt helpless. He didn't expect that he would only be gone for a moment and things would turn out like this. The young lady could treat others like this. At that moment, she lifted her foot off Ye Yao's face, but then stomped down hard on him again. She asked if he was ready to admit defeat. Admit defeat. Take me to the dining hall. I won't fight you anymore. Although Ye Yao was beaten to a pulp, he still arrogantly raised his trembling hand and said, Not a chance, a man won't back down. Feng Ha couldn't help but feel angry at this scene, rushing over to grab the collar of this scoundrel and lift him up. With a punch, he sent Ye Ruo flying away, shouting, Get lost, I haven't even touched the young lady's foot yet. Immediately, a pill fell from him and he looked at the tiny object in his hand with some surprise. Is this really okay? A flower pattern appeared, leaving him bewildered. Feng Ha clenched his fist, thinking to himself how difficult it was to drop a property, and it turned out to be a flower pattern. The young lady joyfully ran over. Feng Ha also came over, calling out loudly, Senior Feng? Meanwhile, Ye Yao, with numerous wounds on his face, angrily shouted, You fraud, arrogant scoundrel! Our heavenly Eternal Valley is not easy to deal with. He sighed deeply, feeling the pressure. Behind everyone there was a strong reaction. Brother Deep was right. We can't let him disrespect our Tianthu Valley. How arrogant. Let's show them what we've got. Just then, someone approached the brothers and sisters, introducing himself as a direct disciple of Elder Makangok. I challenge you, Brother Fong. I am Makangok, a direct disciple of Elder Ngok Thu. He snapped his fan shut and smiled lightly, saying, How it ends is up to you. Diep saw someone coming to help and confidently declared, I suggest you admit defeat early. Makangok comes from a prestigious family and has countless treasures. Most of the disciples of Tianthu Valley are no match for him. Seeing this, she felt uneasy. He comes from a noble family and has so many treasures. His eyes sparkled as if he had seen a delicious dish. Fong pointed and shouted, Let's dive into this meal. He thought to himself that this time he could definitely have some fun. Fong declared, I accept your challenge. Ngok Thu slowly approached, clasped his hands respectfully, and said, Please go ahead. Fong rushed in, thinking it was better to obey than to hesitate. Thuong Hai anxiously shouted, Mac, you must be careful. Take out all your defensive treasures. Ngok Thu activated his divine wheel and muttered, taking out all your treasures for defense, just a con artist from the martial world. Brother Bach, why make a big deal out of nothing? It's just defense. Having a heart of protection is enough. At this moment, he kept rushing forward, his hand producing 3 talismans, determined to make it hard for anyone to approach him. After thinking, Ngok Thu waved the 3 talismans and shouted loudly, Go! The 3 talismans shot forward like powerful daggers, causing a fierce explosion, white smoke billowing up, cheers erupting, and a smug look on his face. Awesome finally took down that con artist. Suddenly, Fong's voice rang out, Sorry? He charged out from the dust and punched straight into Ngok Thu's divine wheel, leaving him stunned at the sight of blood. Before he could finish his sentence, the divine wheel shattered and Ngok Thu spat out a mouthful of blood, falling into a losing position, blood gushing out. Fong chuckled. Looks like you're all disappointed. Then 2 streams of power appeared, the 9 Dragons Sacred Heart Technique and the Dragon Seal Chi. He held 2 items in his hands and smiled. These are all related to dragons. Could it be that I finally get to fight and win something the royal family is declaring war? Fong quickly gathered himself, thinking the situation at Tianthu Valley is even more serious. Loi Chiu said, but the royal family is wasting so much effort. What do they really want from Tianthu Valley? Suddenly someone came over and shouted, You disciples are making too much noise. Do you look like fishmongers at the market? Loi Chiu approached and ordered, Quickly step back, don't let the guests laugh at us. Fong sighed, thinking it was the right moment to handle this. Diep Duke saw him coming and felt nauseated by his antics. In a loud voice, the elder declared, It's all because of this guy named Fong. Loi Chiu raised his hand, signaling Diep Duke to stop, then clasped his hands respectfully. The young man, still impulsive, hoped Brother Fong would overlook this. He laughed heartily, saying, It's just a little sparring with the juniors, a good way to relax. Loi Chiu introduced, This is a distinguished guest of mine. Everyone pay attention and don't be rude." After hearing this, everyone fell into a state of confusion and had to bow their heads in acceptance. He threw his arm around Fong's shoulder, chuckling. "Brother Fong, please allow me to take you to a resting place." Fong didn't refuse, saying thank you, Loy. Just then, the hair on his head stood up and he raised a finger. That's right. The corners of Fong's mouth curled up. "If anyone else wants to challenge me, feel free to come. Whatever your purpose, come find me and we'll see how you end up." Deep was irritated, gritting his teeth in frustration. And Gok Thu reminded him to hold back, warning that this guy was not easy to deal with. We need to prepare well. The scene shifted to the living room of the Quin Hua Villa, where Loi Tue's voice echoed, 9 dragons, sacred heart technique, conceal the dragon chi with these moves. To be precise, only the court was proclaiming martial prowess. He was suspicious, not expecting this kid, dressed in Gok Thu, to be so cunning, warning him not to expose himself just yet. Tran hurriedly said, "Today I deliberately provoked him. He will definitely seek help to continue bothering me." He couldn't stop laughing heartily. "Fong, my friend, we really think alike. You think we should lie in wait when the time comes we can catch them all at once." The scene shifted to the bathroom, where satisfied sounds echoed, feeling warm and comfortable. Fong was panting heavily, those sultry sounds he hadn't done this in a while. He was now relaxing in the bathtub, satisfied, exclaiming, "Loi, this is truly a balance of softness and strength, and you even prepared the bathwater for me. This bathtub is the greatest comfort in life." At that moment, a shadow appeared outside. Fong glanced over and praised, "So good auntie has finally returned. I should take the opportunity to show off my body a bit." He sat up, exposing the contours of his body, grinning mischievously. "Come on, baby, check out Fong's body." Due to absorbing so much light energy, his muscles were quite prominent. But when he opened the door, it wasn't auntie. It was Jiangu who came in carrying a pile of clothes. "Senior, I've brought you some clothes." He immediately turned around, startled, covering himself. "Why is it you, Jiangu?" She smiled shyly. "Senior, there's no need to be embarrassed." Just then, as she stepped closer, she accidentally slipped on the floor, causing her skirt to fly up as she fell straight into the bathtub. Fong's face was splashed with water as he laughed. "Ha ha!" Jiangu tumbled into the water like a mermaid, stranded dazedly, asking, "Why do I have the chance to be so close to Senior Fong?" The closer she got, the more he trembled, backing away and stammering, "This is too close. Men and women should keep their distance. Miss Lin, it would be better for you to go outside." In her mind, Jiangu thought, "Looks like this little guy has no experience." "Well, that makes it easier to deal with." Instead of backing away, she moved closer, her voice sweet. "I don't need to be shy, Senior. I have a few things I want to say to you." Fong tilted his head back, confused, wondering what this was about. She can't be confessing to me, can she? Just then, Auntie burst through the door. "Aha, I'm back!" Seeing the scene before her, she froze, and Fong's face turned pale, hurriedly explaining, "Auntie, it's not what it looks like." In his mind, he thought, "My pure image is ruined." But instead of reacting dramatically, Auntie calmly asked, "Aha, I'm really hungry. Do you know where I can find some dong hai crab? I want to eat that." In reality, Chu Auntie had just transformed into human form and didn't understand what was happening. Seeing this, they sighed. "Crab, huh?" Fong pondered, suddenly feeling that Auntie wasn't too smart. "It seems like it's not a bad thing." Just then, Tran rushed in with a greedy expression. "I've heard of dong hai crab. Where can I find dong hai crab?" Fong, seeing this, joyfully exclaimed, "Senior, where have you been all day? I thought you were blown away by Loi." He chuckled softly. "Old man was just hungry and went to find something to eat. Hurry up and tell someone to bring the crabs from Tan Nin here." The solution quietly stepped out from within. "Now we can't eat it." She mentioned that Tu Yen Vo Quoc is located in a corner of the northwest region of the Great West, where the 60000 Yu Quoc dominate the Lam Hai region in the southeast, using the Thuong Lan mountain range as a boundary. Thien Thu Quoc is perfectly nestled between this Thuong Lan mountain range. The area of Lam Hai has already been occupied by Van Yu Quoc. Tran Hai was extremely angry as he heard her continue that the deep interior of Thien Thu Quoc is very close to Dong Hai, and basically they can't do anything about Khotan Nin. He then immediately exclaimed in shock, "What is Van Yu Quoc? I've never heard of it before." Jiangu recounted that after the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was exhausted, humanity could not withstand the monstrous beasts with their innate talents. The richest southeast region has been taken by them, establishing Van Yu Quoc as it is now. Tran Hai was stunned, not expecting that after 3000 years, the monstrous beasts had already taken over humanity. The spiritual energy has thinned out like this. There can't be anyone who becomes a god, and even less so can anyone save the essence of the ancestor. Jia Fong came out to pat his head, comforting the elder not to lose hope even if the world is different. "As long as you stay positive, that's enough." At this moment, Jiangu presented a ring to Fong Ha. "Senior Fong, wear this." You seem confused and asked what it is. She introduced that this soul-nurturing ring can nurture the soul. I see that Senior Tran Hai's body is weak. If you don't mind, you can rest in this ring later. Time rewinds to that day. When Loi Chu fought with Fong Ha, Tran Ha looked up at the ring and directly said that Fong Ha was a bit strange, looking for an opportunity to gift him this soul-nurturing ring. I can stick to him and quickly find out his origins. He recalled something and asked, "That's right, where is this girl currently manifesting her true self? You won't be Gyingu, right?" "The ancestor of Bak U Tong may not care about worldly affairs, but we ask for your guidance. Don't commit evil acts." She smiled lightly, saying that in this world there is basically no spiritual Gyingu. Worry-free, she coldly replied, "I've always been the one to solve spiritual issues." Tran Hai laughed loudly. "So that's how it is." "Amazing, amazing!" she stammered. The ancestor returned to reality, and Fong Ha looked at the ring sneering as the initial seductive plan continued from the moment he had the ring on his hand. "You always sit and stare at it," Fong Ha, feeling a bit whimsical, turned to ask the elder, "This ring looks very precious. Is it really that good?" Tran Hai chuckled lightly. "Why didn't you give it back when you saw the treasure? Your eyes lit up, didn't they?" "You recalled that after she gifted the ring, she immediately ran away. At that time, you were wearing pajamas and chased outside, not wanting others to see." He waved his hand, releasing his aura, and shouted loudly, "You can't return this treasure." "Then it shall be for the ancestor, quickly." After that, Tran Hai slipped inside the ring, saying with this soul-nurturing ring, "I can rest well now." Fong Ha was confused. "Elder, if you want to merge with me, you should at least consult me first." Time shifted to the morning of the second day. A loud shout rang out. Fong Dao Hu, a figure hanging upside down in pajamas, caught the attention of Fong Ha. "Please, Fong Dao Hu, show yourself for a moment." At that moment, the face of Ao Nuong suddenly scrunched up. You understood her meaning and went to tuck her hair back. Immediately, she relaxed her facial muscles. As Fong stepped out to open the door, he thought to himself, "Yesterday I was just stiff-necked and now someone's already gifted me attributes at my doorstep." Seeing the large figure in front of him startled him. "What on earth is that? Who are you, my friend?" "I'm the man introducing myself, and I apologize for the disturbance. Puang Vin has come to challenge you, hoping you might join me at the martial arts arena for a match." Fong looked up, thinking to himself, this name is much stronger than Diep Duc. Not to mention we're not even on the same level. Looking at this guy, he seems to have something good. He raised his hand high, wishing for a scene change to the eternal duel arena. The two quickly entered the arena. Puang Vin clasped his hands respectfully. "I, Puang Vin, wish to duel with you, Fong Dao Hu. I hope you will agree." Hearing this, Fong fell into a moment of silence. At that moment, a dark, ominous energy emanated from inside the door, and a voice rang out, causing the ground to tremble, startling Fong. The ground. The corners of his mouth curled into a sly smile. The arena where the two stood suddenly lifted off the ground, echoing with thunderous sounds and hissing whispers. "Just a little practice, and we need such a grand setup." Cheers erupted. "That guy Fong is really stepping into the ring with senior brother Puang Vin. Can't believe it. He's a real warrior." Fong eyed Puang Vin's sinister smile with caution. Something feels off. Is this simple-minded senior brother up to some trick? Just then, flames erupted from nowhere, as if wanting to burn everything. Fong exclaimed, "I didn't expect this, Dao Hu." Puang Vin clapped his hands together, sneering. "This isn't a martial arts arena. It's a life-and-death stage. I'm opening a model duel for survival." Puang Vin, with both hands raised, will suppress his cultivation level to match yours. "Even the weapons of those with divine powers will be limited accordingly," he continued arrogantly. "What if it's a divine stage? What if you have some divine treasures? With the life and death stage suppressing you, you won't be able to say a word." The flames kept blazing, and Puang Vin relentlessly attacked head-on. "With my 6-layered celestial cultivation, I'm sure I can defeat you, Fong." After hearing this, Fong puffed up his cheeks and then burst into laughter, holding his belly. "What's with the arrogance? Don't you understand the meaning of a fair duel?" He raised his hand, waving. I get it. Isn't this just a new kind of fairness? Let's get started. I want to see what you got." Currently in front of the eternal duel arena, Diep Ruk smiled lightly. "Thank goodness my junior brother had the foresight to invite senior brother Puang Vin, but it's a pity that everyone can't." Seeing Fong's demeanor, falling down. "That would be great, and Gok Thu fanned the podium. What's so difficult about that?" He picked up 2 jade rings, saying, "These jade charms will allow us to witness Fong's downfall at the hands of Senior Puang." Upon seeing this scene, he felt grateful. My junior brother has so many treasures. Then Gok Thu waved one of the rings and shouted, "Go!" The other ring, he focused his power on capturing the moment. He felt touched seeing this scene, thinking that his junior brother had too many treasures. Then Ngok threw a ring and shouted loudly, "Throw the other ring!" He focused his power on his hand, capturing the moment perfectly. The light from Ngok radiated powerfully, shining down onto a glossy surface where we could witness the battle on the arena firsthand. Diep laughed joyfully, truly a wonderful treasure to have this. We can see through that guy Fong Ha now. Exclamations of awe erupted. Wow, Master Day is really impressive. At this moment, he had a bit of doubt. Wait, Master Day has such a good treasure. Now that you mention it, did we use it before? The others also questioned, isn't it a bit selfish? Ngak, feeling angry, shouted, what are you all thinking? Back on the duel stage, he called out, if you have any skills, show them all. Hearing this, Fong Ha cursed under his breath, you're so arrogant you're about to die. I'm speaking the truth here. Phuong Vinh laughed loudly, holding the fire in his hand. This is the last time you'll see the sun. Shut up and enjoy my strongest technique. At that moment, a massive bull appeared alongside the ultimate technique, the Great Flame Bull, roaring fiercely as Phuong Vinh shouted, this move of mine can take on even the most basic divine powers. In that scene, no one at their level could withstand it. Keep practicing for the next life. The bull charged forward with a deafening roar while Fong Ha remained calm, pushing back against Phuong Vinh's power with his fist. As the punch landed, Fong Ha suddenly rebounded, causing him to feel like a huge rock, leaving him in an awkward state. He laughed triumphantly. Brother, are you starving? Is that why you lack strength? Put in a little more effort. Everyone was stunned. No injuries. Phuong Vinh's hand trembled in pain, struggling to maintain a bitter smile while thinking, how can this be? My punches and techniques disappeared as soon as they got close to him. Now it's your turn, he stammered, looking at Fong Ha. What level of cultivation do you have? Fong Ha licked his lips and replied, maybe in a few months I can open the first divine wheel. Like a thunderclap, he found it hard to understand. It'll take months to open the divine wheel. Don't you have any cultivation? Then what on earth makes this Fong Ha so strong? While Phuong Vinh was still confused, he asked, aren't you going to fight anymore? So it means... Fong Ha smirked. Now it's my turn. In contrast to his earlier arrogance, he now hurriedly begged, heroes, spare me, I didn't see the mountain. Just as he finished speaking, he was met with a punch straight to the face. Everyone was utterly shocked as Phuong Vinh fell down and the orbs appeared. Fong Ha thought to himself, here we go again with these two. He manipulated the two orbs in his hands, a slight smile on his lips, his focus sharpening as he sensed the rules of the elemental abilities. The attributes could be divided into two types. One is innate, like speed and poison, akin to attribute values in a game. Two types of skills, like the methods such as the Dream Technique and the Nine-Dragon Heart Technique, are like skill points in a game. Fong Ha thought to himself, but the attributes that dropped were related to the opponent and also tied to our luck, but they were also linked to the opponent's strength. The weaker the opponent is compared to me, the rarer the drops are, but conversely, if they are strong, the drops come quickly. So fighting that little white guy yielded nothing. Isn't that a bit concerning? You feel a bit helpless. If a stronger opponent came to challenge us, that would be something. The scene shifts to the moon viewing pavilion where Elder Deep rushed in to report, Master, this Fong Ha is too strange. Clearly, his cultivation level is even lower than ours. Even senior brother Phuong Vinh was defeated by him. A man picked up his teacup and spoke in a deep voice, Loi Tu and Bak Thuong Hai, where did this freak come from? He quickly replied, I heard he came from a secret realm, but his background is unclear. The man wiped his mouth with a cloth and said softly, this person is clearly a variable, a dangerous one. Absolutely cannot be kept here. This is the Tianthu Valley. Elder Liu Shuyen said as time passed after half an hour of fierce battle with Phuong Vinh outside the dining hall. Fong Ha expressed his dissatisfaction, Auntie. Although they said we could eat freely, you were holding your messy hair and shouting like someone carrying a steamer. Isn't that a bit exaggerated? However, Auntie didn't care and happily carried a large tray of buns. Zhuyen Nguyen approached to ask about your appearance. It seems you are Fong Ha, my young friend. Fong Ha turned back, puzzled. Who are you? He thought to himself, this person has a very familiar aura. He clasped his hands respectfully. I am Liu Shuyen, elder of Tianthu Valley. Zhuyen Nguyen wanted to invite Fong Ha to our moon viewing pavilion for a bit. You didn't hide it and expressed, I must say, why do you have such a familiar aura? It turns out you have also cultivated the Sword Heart of Clarity. Zhuyen Nguyen's voice deepened. How did you see through that I cultivated the Sword Heart of Clarity? Fong Ha replied coldly, I have my own ways. He patted the dust off his shoulder and recounted, I heard you and Loi Tu have a deep bond until he met a girl named Ma Nguyen. You just started having a grudge. Although this kind of affection isn't strange, it's still quite rare in this era that you just started having a conflict. Hearing this, Zhuyen Nguyen was a bit confused. He sneered, There is no girl named Ma Nguyen. I hope my young friend doesn't listen to biased rumors. Don't believe those wild rumors, Fong Ha said, steering the conversation. Right, you can't trust the gossip. Let's hurry to the moon viewing pavilion. The scene shifts to the Tianthu Valley moon viewing pavilion. Zhuyen Nguyen introduced, This is the moon viewing pavilion. Please all three of you come inside, regardless of the attitudes of the other two. Auntie continued her eating journey while Fong Ha looked around, wondering why Elder Lu was here to drink tea. Isn't it a bit dark? At this moment, he snapped his fingers, and the door behind them slowly closed with a loud bang, startling both of them to turn around as magical circles appeared. He spoke coldly. This moon viewing pavilion is a project personally selected by me using the most solid materials for construction. The layered formations here were also inscribed by 10 grandmasters, enough to annihilate several high-level experts at once. Xian Guyen stated that even if the guy from the Loi family was a rogue, it wouldn't be easy for him to step into my Vong Guye pavilion. But the person dared to smile lightly because Elder Loi had mentioned it to me before. Anyone who could cultivate a sharp sword mind surely wasn't a bad person. Hearing him chuckle softly, he swung his sword, his sharp gaze indicating his intent. That guy from the Loi family was still so simple-minded. You actually believed what he said. Xian Nguyen launched straight into an attack, shouting Zhuan Tu Nat as his sword technique unleashed a storm of blades. Fong Ha quickly raised his hand to counter that attack. The two collided, creating a thunderous sound. Fong Ha thought to himself, just a few sword energies and they're already so fierce. Luckily, I've gotten a lot stronger recently, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to hold on. His face showed clear signs of strain. Finally, there was someone who could help me test my theories about the attribute abilities. After thinking, he turned to remind, be careful, this guy is much stronger than anyone we've faced before. If you let your guard down even a little, you'll get hurt. Suddenly, a sobbing sound echoed, hoo hoo hoo, aha, crouched down on the ground, surrounded by scattered buns, stuttering, the buns fell everywhere. Fong Ha immediately fell into panic. This was a warning before Ah Nuong erupted, or was he thinking of a way to calm her down? What if she managed to defeat that Liu Xuyen Nuyen guy? Then wouldn't there be no attributes left to collect? At that moment, her eyes suddenly sparkled, and with murmurs about buns, Xuyen Nguyen remained arrogant and provoked. Indeed, dealing with a few strong ones like you is nothing. Those sword formations won't be enough, but if all the sword formations charge at once, you will be powerless. Now watch how I kindly take you down. To restore the old order of Tianthu Valley, Fong Ha stepped forward and shouted, Elder Lu, let's make a bet. He pointed, expressing, if I can break your Vong Nguye pavilion, you must provide food for a Nuong for a month without fail. Zhuyen Nguyen raised his sword mockingly. You're making conditions even when death is imminent. You've got it wrong, Elder Lu. The original poster could break the download and Apple content would receive medal rewards. He could keep his promise to open the server for 23 hours and post monster levels. So just follow along. Fong Ha gathered his energy, feeling the atmosphere rise. He thought it was just bragging, but someone could explode with rewards for a whole month 3 times in a row. It was never enough to tease him. He swung his sword, unleashing countless powers that flew rapidly, shouting, let's see how this goes. A loud bang erupted as he activated his technique, the blade slicing through all of Xuyen Nuyen's attacks with overwhelming force and Fong Ha's loud roar. The two were now in a state of shock, unable to speak. The sky was quickly surrounded by a powerful aura, and 2 streams of energy rushed to attack Vong Nguyet. Creating a thunderous explosion, a ball erupted with rays of power like lightning. Fong Ha reached out, thinking it was just like what Loi Tu had dropped. It was also a sword mind attribute. Fong Ha grasped it and called out, Elder Lu, are you ready to play? Zhuyen Nguyen was now trembling all over, coughing painfully. He turned to comfort A Nuong, saying, if Elder Liu agrees to provide food for a month, then you should forgive his 7 offenses. Hearing this, A Nuong gasped, imagining countless delicious dishes. Her eyes sparkled as she immediately agreed, aha, I agree to forgive him. He was panting heavily, thinking to himself, what kind of power is this really? Who could possibly have the strength to shatter all the formations of the illusory moon pavilion with a single strike? Why do you want to get involved with the Heavenly Eternal Valley? Feng Ha chuckled shyly. I'm just a passerby, a bit curious about the Heavenly Eternal Valley. He was a bit skeptical. Was it really just curiosity? Why were you so nonchalant while telling Elder Lu I need to ask you about that? Aside from the hidden leaders, none of you from the Heavenly Eternal Valley are my match. I heard that the royal family of the Tuyen Vo has 5 powerful experts. If they join forces, their strength would far exceed mine enough to crush this Heavenly Eternal Valley multiple times over. Then why are they facing the Heavenly Eternal Valley head-on while using such a despicable insider tactic? What is the royal family of Tuyen Vo really afraid of? Feng Ha asked, falling into silence, biting his lips. He didn't want to argue and just waved his hand, teasing the person. If you don't want to talk to me, I'll go find the royal family of Tuyen Vo to chat. Who knows, they might agree to take me in. The invincible experts have never lacked a team. Zhuyen Nguyen gritted his teeth, thinking to himself that the trump card of the Heavenly Eternal Valley was definitely not a secret. Those with strength might know a bit. If no one knows, then why would the Tuyen Vo kingdom be so cautious? Telling him wouldn't hurt for now, especially if it involves this expert from the Dao stage. Handing it over to the enemy myself would be the real regret. Thinking that, he called out loudly, Brother, you couldn't help but smile, could you? Shu Yen Nguyen grasped Feng Ha's hand, sobbing, "This isn't a secret at all. It's fine to tell you, brother." Seeing such excitement, you seemed a bit confused, stuttering, "Elder Lu, I can feel your sincerity." "Let go of my hand first." He expressed his hope for his brother to follow him to a place of transition. The three of them had now arrived at the deep mountain of the Thanglan. Shu Yen Nguyen invited, "Look the trump card. This is the treasure of the heavenly eternal valley." Feng Ha covered his mouth, looking up at the sparkling object, exclaiming, "Oh my, what is that?" A gigantic golden bell appeared. He introduced, "That is the treasure that guards our sect, the heavenly eternal bell." Shu Yen Nguyen continued, "The battle back then between the royal family of Tuyen Vo and the heavenly eternal valley was extremely tense. Thankfully, there was this treasure that the early leaders of the heavenly eternal valley had refined." He recounted that about 695 years ago, before the early leader transformed into the immortal of the central, this bell had suppressed countless powerful enemies. It was regarded as the first sacred treasure of the heavenly eternal valley. Shu Yen Nguyen proudly stated that during the most dangerous times for the heavenly eternal valley, the heavenly eternal bell would activate. It would suppress all enemies of the heavenly eternal valley. Feng Ha approached the bell, observing and assessing this heavenly eternal bell. Indeed, it was not ordinary. But then you turned back, hitting your hand behind you, asking, "Has this bell really been here for nearly 700 years? Is it truly still usable? The dust on it was so thick, your cultural artifact preservation work is really lacking." He chuckled. "Feng Dao, you just joking. This unparalleled divine weapon in the world doesn't need maintenance." The leader of the sect, the early leader, cultivated the heavenly eternal bell with his lifelong efforts. How could it be affected by the passage of time? At this moment, a Nuang, unable to resist her curiosity, approached and poked the bell. A crack appeared, and she turned to Aha, bewildered. "Oh no, it's broken!" Feng Ha was a bit confused. "This is terrible." Shu Yen Nguyen was horrified and shouted, "Is the heavenly eternal bell broken?" But then the crack widened. Accompanied by the sharp cracking sounds, Kai called out to Elder Lu, and immediately the shattered pieces of the bell fell down below. How could this be happening in the dark? He painfully knelt on the ground, crying out that he was the most sinful disciple in the history of the heavenly eternal valley, being the broken fan of the valley's master. It's impossible to accept the reality that the heavenly eternal valley with its ancient cultural relics is normal and not the responsibility of those who have crossed the realms to blame. If the heavenly eternal valley has come to this, why is the Emperor of the martial declaration so slow to act? His voice was cold. Perhaps that great person feels that the time for the heavenly eternal valley is running out, delaying action until the heavenly eternal valley is completely lost. Only then will the protection of the heavenly eternal valley be consumed by you. Finishing his words, Feng Ha peeked inside, observing him holding his face trembling with no more heavenly eternal valley. The martial declaration kingdom will then have an overwhelming advantage. The heavenly eternal valley will have to become a thing of the past, right? Feng Ha's voice rang out. "Elder Liu, don't be too pessimistic. Come look at this." I don't know what's inside, but the young lady's eyes lit up as if she saw a mountain of delicious food and suddenly stopped. It was him chuckling, the elder master of your valley. It seems he has left you a surprise. Inside, countless small bells emitted a blood-red aura floating in the air. He exclaimed in excitement, "I didn't expect there to be so many small bells filled with divine energy." The Valley Master indeed has extraordinary wisdom. The heavenly eternal valley is saved. You think so, right? These small bells, are they born from this big bell? Feng Ha helplessly explained, "The bells have no life." The young lady chuckled softly. "You're right, the heavenly eternal bell is not something alive." He was delighted. Holding his face red as a tomato, he exclaimed loudly, "But the Valley Master can do this!" The Master is indeed a model for me to learn from. Feng Ha found it hard to understand why mentioning that Valley Master made him go crazy like this. He approached, reaching out to touch the bell softly. "Elder Lu, don't get too excited about these small bells." We still don't know how much divine power is left when Feng Ha's finger touched that aura. A ringing sound echoed, followed by other bells chiming as if signaling something. A loud shout rang out, "Who dares to touch this treasure of mine?" He was startled. "What's going on?" Feng Ha wondered, could it be that the Valley Master hasn't ascended yet and has been hiding here for 700 years to cultivate? He realized that the person inside was not the Valley Master. It was likely a thief secretly refining the Valley Master's bell. The thought crossed his mind. If it's not one of us, then it's easy. Feng Ha cracked his wrist, chuckling. "The person at the entrance, go protect him and investigate the origin of this guy. If it's really a thief, I'll take him down right away." He shouted to his fellow disciple, "Don't worry, I will definitely protect your lady well." The young lady hit her head, analyzing the situation again. "If he's really a thief, I'll take him down for sure. He shouted at me, but don't worry, I'll definitely protect your lady. I'll give him a good whack on the head and analyze everything again." Aha's intention is to protect those who are injured. Right now, Tran Hai inside the ring spoke up. This kid can feel the power of that guy at the nascent soul stage. Don't go running around. Oh, we've discovered the secret in that bell. He definitely won't let us off easily. I think of a way, he said, looking up and clearing his throat a few times to catch his breath. Feng Ha then pretended to sound old and spoke vaguely. The treasure that my true self refined with my life-bound divine weapon, when did it become yours? Could it be that my true self has been in seclusion for 700 years and the world has forgotten my name? The thief, puzzled, asked, using a life-bound divine weapon for refinement, could you be Ho Hai Sin? He rubbed the ring and said, Senior, if I were to impersonate Ho Hai Sin, that would be a bit ridiculous. The martial world is in danger, borrowing your power. You're getting on my nerves. Stop, don't fix it anymore, old ancestor. Let me borrow it. Then a series of loud rumblings erupted. A powerful aura surged. Feng Ha pretended to speak. If you recognize my true self, why not surrender quickly? He burst out in anger, shouting, It can't have been 700 years already. You can't possibly still be alive. Feng Ha thought to himself, just hearing his name isn't enough to make him surrender, so I might have to take action. He clenched his fists and said, It's been a long time since my true self has shown up. There are those who think I'm dead. Feng Ha thought, the Tao specializes in divine might. The young man Luong Kai Hoa, the sword heart, all of it has been unleashed. He waved his hands, launching attacks, and shouted loudly. Looks like it's time for everyone to remember my name. Xian Nguyen watched this scene, unable to hide his astonishment. The sword heart is at such a high level. His expression was bewildered. How could he reach this level after just a few days of practicing sword heart? If I say he's the reincarnation of the former master of the cave, I might actually believe it. He shouted, You bastard, return my treasure. The loud rumbling echoed as the young man with the sword heart unleashed a flurry of swords flying powerfully. The two sides clashed, creating a thunderous explosion. Countless auras erupted, soaring through the space, heading towards those bells. Feng Ha's expression turned bewildered. These bells are activating too. Are they countering my attack? The thief laughed loudly. Are you very surprised? You want to know how something I created can activate so easily? A powerful dark aura surged as he shouted, This treasure of Ho Hai Sin is mine now. The booming sounds echoed like a giant heart beating as the thief shouted, A dead man like you should obediently crawl back into your coffin. The bell now rang out with deafening sounds like countless sticks striking inside the sound waves spreading throughout the space. Ngok Thu heard it and immediately recognized it as Tien Thu Trung. Thuong Hai quickly realized it was the sound of Tien Thu Trung, and Loi Thieu was startled. How can this be? The sound of Tien Thu Trung, which had been sealed for many years, not only startled the disciples, but even shocked the Grand Master who had been secluded for many years in Tien Thu Cave. They won't go near that bell. So that person in the bell is from the Tuyen Vu Empire. From what I've heard from the elders, the sound from the bell represents Tuyen Vu Quoc, declaring war, no longer wanting to maintain the balance. At that moment, an elder sitting with a swirling aura raised a hand, speaking in a deep voice. What should come has finally come. Time to emerge. The Tao platform reveals Tien Thu and the Tuyen Vo has been fighting for hundreds of years. It's time for a conclusion. At that moment, Feng Ha, with countless wounds on his face, gasped for breath, and Ao Nuong remarked, Aha! He's really strong. Even with the two of us working together, it'll be tough to deal with him. Feng Ha softly called out to Ao Nuong, recalling when Tran Hai advised that when facing a stronger opponent, one should run away first. That's the instinct of a beast. You think to yourself that Ao Nuong is suppressing her own fear for your sake. Feng Ha gently pats her head, reassuring her. Don't worry, have you ever seen me lose? Your gaze sharpens. I already have a way to defeat him. But I need your help to hold him back a bit. Is that okay? Ao Nuong chuckled softly. If Aha says so, then of course it's not a problem. Feng Ha whispered. Ao Nuong, you just need to provoke him to control him a little. Wait for me to finish my skill and I'll take his head directly. She heard this and felt a bit confused. Provoke and control, huh? You replied, exactly, just talk to him a bit and then use the web to bind him tightly. Ao Nuong agreed, all right, let me try. Feng Ha turned around, relying entirely on her. The thief pointed and shouted, Ho Hai Sin, do you still dare to underestimate me? He yelled loudly. I can feel your current strength is far from your peak. The thief spread his arms wide and the bells rang. As long as I kill you, my plan can proceed smoothly as before. At that moment, countless auras shot out. They looked like shooting stars, creating a thread that wrapped tightly around the bells. The thief saw this scene and panicked, shouting, Those are my bells! Ao Nuong grabbed the thread and pulled it in, yelling loudly. Dream on, he is mine, only I can kill him. The thief laughed loudly. Little lowly of Ho Hai Sin, huh? It's just the eightfold heavenly opening realm. And you dare to fight me, Ho Hai Sin, you really are out of options. At this moment, Feng Ha had run out to Elder Lu. Seeing Fong Ha rush out, he asked, "Fong Dai Hiep, why are you out here?" You hurriedly said, "Are we going to escape this time?" "It all depends on you now." He replied, "Just tell me what I can help with." Fong Ha hesitated. "There are enemies." Shuyen Nuyen was startled and turned around. "What, is there another spy from the Tuyenvo kingdom?" But the opportunity was there. You kicked him hard, gritting your teeth in regret. "Shuyen Nguyen Quan, I'm sorry." Immediately after the item flew up, Fong Ha looked up, thinking to himself, "I thought the drop rate would be lower, but unexpectedly it came out. What luck!" Then you turned back as if nothing happened and patted Shuyen Nuyen on the shoulder. "Elder Lu, wake up." He looked dazed, like he had lost his hat, asking, "Who, which one?" Another punch was thrown, and you cried silently, "Shuyen Nguyen Quan, I'm really sorry." Shuyen Nuyen fell into Fong Ha's arms unconscious, while Fong Ha was stunned. Another one fell out. You looked at him, lying still in your hands, and pondered, "Elder Lu, you truly are the legendary genius of the sword." But then Fong Ha mercilessly swung his hand high, spinning Shuyen Nguyen in the air. The thief laughed loudly. "You think you can defeat me by going after your own?" He swung his hand, the head of the heavenly autumn valley known throughout the world. He transformed into a despicable thief, charging towards Ao Nuong. "I'll kill this little lowly in the heavenly opening realm first, then I'll come for you, Ho Hai Sin." Dark, powerful auras surged towards her. Ao Nuong wasn't scared at all. She even laughed joyfully. Just then, Fong Ha rushed in, shouting, "I've been waiting for this!" Fong Ha gripped his sword tightly. "Let's see how my newly forged greatsword tastes." The thief was immediately stunned, searching for such a fierce idea. The power of Ho Hai has been restored. You think the spiritual attributes are so abundant. That's enough to turn the tide. Then you turned to ask, "Are you okay, my lady?" She shook her head, saying she was fine, which made Fong Ha chuckle. "As long as a Ha is here, everything will be all right." Just then, the thief, who seemed dead, suddenly revived, his voice rising. "You let your guard down." Ho Hai rushed to hug her, shouting, "Be careful, my lady, his energy beams are flying everywhere." But suddenly, a powerful strike cut through. The thief's ominous aura was accompanied by a sword drawn and a cold voice. "You shameless thief! A dog thief daring to ambush a woman? How audacious!" Hearing this, he gradually vanished. Your dead meat, Fong Ha was curious. "Where did this expert come from?" My lady felt grateful the sword was so fast that the old man stroked his beard and chuckled softly, making both of them tremble with fear from his overwhelming presence. But then he presented a rose to my lady, asking, "Would you like to be my Taoist partner?" Fong Ha saw this scene and immediately spat blood from her nose, feeling a bit annoyed. "Even though I'm older than you, calling me sister feels a bit strange." You were also angry and shouted, "On the outside he looks dignified, but he's just an old lecher." Jealousy surged, making Fong Ha yell, "Old man, keep your distance from her." He stepped back. "Ah, my Taoist friend, what do you mean by that?" Suddenly, two figures landed heavily on the ground, startling Fong Ha. "Who are you?" Truck Van asked. "Which elder do you serve?" "Kan He," shouted loudly. "Don't you recognize the current leader?" Hearing this, both were confused, and Fong Ha exclaimed in panic, "The leader!" Sigh. The old man sighed softly. "Looks like I haven't been out for a long time." "This is the current leader of the Heavenly Eternal Valley," said the old man. Fong Ha couldn't stop her jealousy, cursing this lecherous old man for being the leader of the Heavenly Eternal Valley. Kan Ni angrily stepped forward, ordering everyone to retreat. "He's too dangerous." Chuck Fan reassured, "Don't worry, even if he is the leader, we won't show him any mercy." She continued, "We will definitely seek justice for ourselves and our Taoist lady." Hearing this, he felt a bit helpless. Oh dear. Then both rushed to attack the old man, cursing, "Having such a person as the leader of the Heavenly Eternal Valley is truly embarrassing. Every time he comes out, he just teases beautiful women, and now he dares to lay hands on a married woman." Fong Ha stood aside, watching this scene in confusion. "Aren't you two going a bit too far?" the old man shouted. "I'm not teasing her, I'm sincere with that young lady." Earlier, Fong Ha had felt pity, but now she was furious and rushed to attack alongside the two girls, shouting, "I'm not done with that lecher yet." The old man was being hit and cried out in distress. Shuyen Nuyen, witnessing this chaos, complained, "So annoying," but quickly realized the two elders and the three elders were there. "You're also here?" He shouted, "What are you two doing here, and what's that pile on the ground? Is that the leader?" Truck still turned to respond. "We heard the commotion and came here." "I didn't expect to see you. You've aged and become reckless," Kant Nai added. "Daring to tease someone's wife, you're spinning in circles now. Let me go this time." These two are the two elders of the Heavenly Eternal Valley, Kan Nai and Nam, the elder of the Heavenly Eternal Valley. Now Truck Van, hearing the two girls speak, couldn't help but be astonished. "What is she, the young lady? What could it be that it's with the young lady?" He then turned to apologize, asking the two of them to calm down, saying that the headmaster was just being harsh with words and meant no harm if Elder Lu had said so. He quickly turned to remind the headmaster not to cause chaos anymore. 7, he, having learned from experience, agreed readily. He asked further, "Is there more? Why did you suddenly come out?" 7. He explained that his true self had just emerged because of the strange sounds coming from Trung. It was the unusual cries of Tien Tu Trung. Perhaps it was the presence of the powerful figure from 55 that had appeared. This statement made everyone pause their thoughts, racing about the powerful figure from 55 from the fierce battle between Tien Tu Kok and Tuyen Vo Quoc. To extinguish the revival intentions of Tien Tu Kok, the elite troops of the strongest royal family of Tuyen Vo Mak Nguyen Long attacked Tien Tu Kok that day, causing 7 echoes of sound to resonate. It seemed like a sign of war. The disciples of Tien Tu Kok heard the sounds and acted one after another to resist Mak Nguyen Long and his elite troops, but in the end, their levels couldn't compare to Mak Nguyen Long, and despite the many elite disciples accumulated over the years, they still fell in that battle. Tien Tu Kok had a chance for revival but fell into a deep abyss of defeat. 7. His solemn voice today echoed after the tragic sounds of Trung raising his hand high. The booming sounds resonated. The bell rang 7 times, summoning all elders and officials to the restroom. Murmurs arose outside. The headmaster has emerged. "Everyone hurry to Tien Tu Dien," Loi Thiu Cao said. "It seems it's finally time for this to happen." Shuyen Nuyen chimed in from behind. "The headmaster seems to have long plotted an attack on the 5 great masters. Someone will personally go into battle. What should we do?" The elder reassured. "You don't need to be afraid. I have good news, 7. He has informed me that I have entered the Nguyen Dan realm." He wondered about this vague news. Is it the Dan light of the Nguyen Dan realm? That's quite impressive. The headmaster has finally broken through. She turned and ran, waving her hand. "Headmaster, we will go host the meeting to announce the good news." The elder agreed. "Go ahead." Fong Ha continued to provoke lightly. "Old man, you're so lecherous." 7, he sighed. "Oh, little friend, do you still dislike me?" He whispered, "Stop pretending. You basically didn't break through. Am I right?" The scene shifted to the royal palace of Tuyen Vo Quoc, where a respectful voice echoed, "I Mak Nguyen. Long pay my respects to your majesty." A deep voice asked, "Why does Duke Nguyen need to see me in such a hurry?" The man kneeling was Mak Nguyen Long, Duke of Tuyen Vo Quoc. "Nguyen Long reports your majesty just now. There was a mysterious man claiming to be Ho Hai Sin who fought with my avatar in Tien Tu Trung." The man's voice echoed with the name of that young man. "He possesses strength not lower than my avatar." His expression darkened. "I fear that Ho Hai Sin has returned." The man softly replied, "Icon, you're overthinking." This man was the emperor of Tuyen Vo Quoc Mak Lien Kuyet, who informed, "The person I arranged in Tien Tu Kok has already sent news. That mysterious kid is named Fong Ha. He is definitely not Ho Hai Sin or anything like that." Hearing this, Nguyen Long excitedly exclaimed, "So it's not Ho Hai Sin. Your Majesty, we cannot underestimate him. He is an enemy of the same level as Ho Hai Sin. There's also the names of the leader who has just emerged, and it seems he has made a breakthrough. With one strike, he sent my clone flying." He sighed deeply. That old god really deserves to die for failing to refine the treasure inside for 55 years, all efforts wasted. Nguyen Long raised his hand. The old god pleaded for redemption. "I beg you, your majesty. Let me lead 100,000 troops to retrieve the treasure. We must eliminate the heavenly bamboo valley to prevent future troubles." He agreed, laughing heartily. "You're absolutely right for the sake of the Zhuanvo kingdom. The heavenly bamboo valley is fine too. The Feng family can also be completely eradicated. However, we don't need to take action ourselves. Those sects will fall from darkness into light. Loyalty to me seems to be quite urgent. I've already sent them to the heavenly bamboo valley. Those rebellious scoundrels from the heavenly bamboo valley." At this moment, 3 figures appeared in the central area, rushing towards the heavenly bamboo valley, declaring that no one would survive inside. "Hey, Feng Xiaoyu, what do you mean by saying your main body hasn't broken through to the Dan realm?" Feng Xia replied, "The Dan realm is where one uses the Tao platform as a furnace to condense true energy. The original yin and yang forged the Golden Dan. Once successful, the Golden Dan will cleanse the physical body at all times, allowing that person to extend their lifespan." Chen Hai interjected, "This isn't just a fantasy. The 3 lives technique. Kid, you learn quickly," Feng Xia pointed out. "But I don't sense any boiling blood in your body, senior, which clearly indicates that you haven't broken through the realm." The old man chuckled softly. "I'm confident even Nguyen Long could be deceived." Unexpectedly, he was seen through. "Hey, I'm a bit hesitant, but according to what you said using the Tao platform as a furnace to condense true energy and forge the Golden Dan, I've truly never heard of that." Suddenly, the old man remembered something. "Wait a minute," he mumbled. "Tao platform, furnace, true energy, Golden Dan." Suddenly, he raised both hands joyfully and exclaimed, I understand now. It turns out I've been lacking in this aspect all along. What are you confused about? Do you understand? The old man grasped Feng Xia's hands and waved them around. I can't thank you enough for your great kindness. If the heavenly bamboo valley can survive this calamity, I will certainly charge into the sea of flames for you without hesitation. He stood with arms crossed. Only 3,000 years have passed. Why is even the method to condense the Golden Dan being passed down? Could it be that someone is intentionally severing the connection of these divine techniques? If you can hold the secret to condensing the Golden Dan, your background must be extraordinary. But you can freely share the secret. Breaking through to the Dan realm is indeed a noble image among cultivators. Feng Xia humbly replied, not at all, just a little support with likes and follows would be enough. The old man was puzzled by what the friend just mentioned. He had never heard of such a method to break through a realm. You laugh softly, don't mind me, I'm just rambling. But in Feng Xia's heart. Right now, I'm feeling incredibly happy, secretly laughing as I reflect on the past when I was a gamer strategizing my way through. Thank you, old turtle, for guiding me through this journey. Finally, I've saved a lot of energy hoping to meet the Great One again. The monsters. Oh, those monsters. This familiar feeling is just so good. At this moment, the loud shout from the old man pulled me back to reality. The Tuyenvo kingdom has been established for over 700 years, and in that time, only a rare few have managed to forge the original elixir in a century. Currently, the old man has grasped a part of that success. He might be able to break through to the original elixir realm soon. Luckily, I rushed over and grabbed the old man's robe, shouting, "Old man, shouldn't your human setup be a majestic one?" "What do you mean by setup?" I shouted. "The enemy is about to attack." "So you only grasped a part of the success." The old man's face turned red as he said, "Given the situation in Tianthu Valley, don't even mention a part of hope. Even if it's just half, I will do everything to fight." I firmly stated that as long as we can protect Tianthu Valley, even if it costs my old life, I'm willing. The old woman asked, "It sounds very dangerous. Should we continue to stay here?" Tran Hai replied, "Is their grudge against Tuyenvo Kingdom related to our butts?" Staying here, I expressed my opinion. I think it's fine to stay temporarily. After all, we have food and a place to sleep. As long as we have money, it's a safe condition. But just as I finished speaking, the space erupted with an earthquake that left me powerless. Your black crow net quickly burst out, and I was startled, panicking. "Oh no, what kind of terrifying wall is this?" Ahead are columns surrounded by bright, colorful circles illuminating the space. "Kim Mak Tui Huatho," I exclaimed. "This is the 5 Elements Great Formation of the 5 Elements." Tran Hai spoke up. "All right, now even if you want to leave, you can't anymore." Confused, I wondered about the 5 Elements sect. The old man replied, "The 5 Elements sect was originally an ally of Tianthu Valley, but now it seems they have long betrayed us, becoming pawns of the royal family of Tuyenvo." I rushed ahead, shouting, "Headmaster, don't rush. Let's circle around the Great Formation and see if we can find a way to break it." "All right, then, I'll trouble you, Feng Dao Hu." I turned back and instructed, "You all go around and check. If anything happens, we'll charge out immediately." The girl asked in confusion, "Do you know what anything means?" The old man chuckled, "Of course I know, but I just won't tell you." The scene shifted to the wall where a blinding light exploded with a thunderous bang and a loud crash echoed as the dust quickly settled. I frowned. "I can't open it. Relying on strength doesn't seem to be working." Suddenly, at that moment, a loud laugh rang out, indescribably mocking. A man appeared sneering, "You want to directly break the formation of the 5 Elements sect, just relying on the Tienthu Valley with only a few people in the Kai Luan realm. So this is the young master of the Tientuyet sect, Mo Kong Tu." He arrogantly laughed. "You all just wait to die here. When the royal army arrives, they will definitely wash Tienthu Valley in blood. I, the young master, will show mercy and let you all die whole." At that moment, my expression turned sour. Just looking at that outfit is enough to make my eyes hurt. That little girl is radiating energy, and this guy looks so annoying. He still doesn't have a clue and casually says, "Of course, all the little ladies at Heavenly Autumn Valley. I won't let anyone waste a shot. I'm still standing here and my nickname is Silver Gun, no less. You bitches from Heavenly Autumn Valley enjoy yourselves." At the same time, the girl kicked him right in the groin, causing chaos to ensue. Both of them were confused when they realized someone had been standing beside them the whole time. A scream of pain rang out loudly as the girl asked, "Are you okay? This guy can't load his gun anymore. Do we need to bring him in?" Tran Hai and Feng Ha shouted, "You better explain why you were out there first." She nervously put her finger in her mouth and replied, "Why are you asking me how I got out?" The girl casually twisted her ankle and said, "This egg can only be on the ground. Below ground I can come and go as I please." He laughed foolishly, realizing that going underground could actually reveal a flaw in the magic formation. "Impressive. You're kidding. This magic formation looks so cool, yet it has such a weak point." Feng Ha then wrapped the young master in a cocoon and said, "Hurry up and bring that thing here. We still need to discuss the plan." The girl immediately agreed. Suddenly, a loud voice exclaimed, "Found it!" Feng Ha shouted, "Watch out behind you!" At that moment, two guys from the Lien Kuyet faction arrived so quickly that she didn't have time to react, and their swords stabbed into her chest. He shouted in excitement, "You almost let this creature out!" How bold to take action against the young master. The young master mocked, "If it weren't for the royal family's order not to spare anyone from Heavenly Autumn Valley, I really want to take her as my prize." Fong Ha glared at the two mixed bloods and said, "You dared to provoke me and touch her. You're asking for it." He scoffed. "Those from Heavenly Autumn Valley deserve to die." Fong Ha gathered his strength in his fists and charged at them, saying, "You won't get away with this." Vonai reminded him not to waste his energy. "This formation isn't something a kid like you can break." He chuckled. "Just wait to die in there." But at that moment, Fong Ha's power was overwhelming, creating a terrifying earthquake that directly attacked both of them, causing them to spit blood before they vanished. Hissing sounds filled the air as he clenched his teeth in frustration, still lacking a bit more strength. That annoying formation. At that moment, both had arrived in another space. Tong Tung felt a bit scared and sighed in relief. That was close. Vo Nai felt the same. Indeed, only the old turtle who always secluded himself in Heavenly Autumn Valley has the ability to tear a piece of the five elements formation apart. Daring to act against the young master, no life is enough to repay that debt. If it weren't for this barrier, you would have been dead long ago. But both of them were unaware that behind them a pair of feet were approaching, accompanied by a cold laugh. The girl softly said, "You just laid hands on me, didn't you?" she asked them. Seeing this, Fong Ha was overjoyed. "Just a little bit more, I'm fine." Tran Hai praised the girl's clone technique. "It's really fast." Thong Tung, confused, said, "Is there really a precise clone technique in the Wheel Realm?" In the midst of the chaos, I clearly felt that he raised his sword and shouted loudly, "She is definitely not human." The guy rushed forward. "Let's kill this monster together." The girl chuckled softly. "If you have the guts to kill me, then come and try." Seeing this, Feng Ha was instantly captivated by the girl's appearance. The aura felt overwhelmingly strong. In a blink, I realized that this was the awakened form of the beast. Tran Hai indicated that the beast was in this state. The male senses and cultivation would become incredibly powerful. Although she, with her strength at the opening wheel stage, couldn't fight against the clone in the bell, she could handle two minor divine powers. This scene was still manageable. At that moment, she stood still, watching the sword pointed directly at her. Instantly, invisible threads wrapped around the two swords, leaving both of them bewildered. "What can't be cut down?" the beast girl exclaimed. Her hands were now intertwined with the threads, making a slapping sound. The girl jumped up gracefully. A swift force shot out. It flew straight in front of both of them, pulling the threads taut. They screamed in panic, and then, as if electrified, the threads struck at Vo Nai and Than Tung, who were caught off guard. "The girl is so powerful." Tran Hai felt a bit worried. However, her awakened form still had some flaws due to her limited cultivation, so this form could only be maintained for a short time. In a brief moment, that last strike had likely drained her strength. A loud shout rang out as the woman attacked, but it only lasted a few seconds. This was a fatal flaw for the future. Vo Nai, covered in wounds, looked down at his hand vaguely, asking if he was only slightly injured. Than Tung held his face in agreement. "That's right." Both of them then panicked, looking at the shadow that had vanished. "Where did that beast girl take the young master?" Meanwhile, the girl had returned, smiling softly. "Ah, I'm back now," Feng Ha exclaimed. "That's great. I was so worried I thought I was going to die." He chuckled inwardly. She transformed again. Outside, the two shouted loudly, "Quick, return our young master from the Heavenly Absolute Sect." Both of them stuck out their tongues in provocation. "If you have the guts, come and take him back." Von Hai angrily cursed at the despicable people. "We're going to find reinforcements to rescue the young master." Tan Tung agreed. "That's right, let them know our strength." Suddenly, a sword strike came flying in. It slashed across them, leaving them stunned. "Look at this!" His eyes widened as the sword energy pierced through the five-element formation. Could it be that the seven clowns had appeared to deliver that strike? Vo Nai was immediately astonished. The seven clowns! How pitiful! Not only did the five-element sect serve the Tuyen Vo Empire, but even the Heavenly Absolute sect had turned against them. Both of them had now collapsed on the ground. The seven clowns asked, "What sect is the Heavenly Absolute sect? What is its relationship with the Heavenly Eternal Valley?" The strike slowly began to recover. The old man explained that the Heavenly Absolute sect, like the five-element sect, was nominally allied with the Heavenly Eternal Valley, but now they had both turned towards the royal family, becoming its claws. Feng Ha was puzzled. "Why do you need to ally with these traitors from the Heavenly Eternal Valley?" The old man sighed. This story goes back over 700 years. The Tuyenvo Emperor used martial arts to enter the court. The Tuyenvo repeatedly persecuted the major sects on the mountain. The Tuyenvo army was powerful, killing countless people. They wanted to monopolize the resources in the Tuyenvo kingdom. The elders of the Heavenly Eternal Valley personally went to battle, but under the support of the Tuyenvo army, they were defeated. Because of this, the Heavenly Eternal Valley became the first holy place in the Tuyenvo kingdom. The five-element sect, the Heavenly Absolute sect, and various major and minor sects were established around the Heavenly Eternal Valley. Together they formed an alliance, seeking protection, but over 300 years ago, the traitor colluded with the court, and the Heavenly Eternal Valley suffered heavy injuries, leading to the dissolution of the alliance. The Seven Hades continued to speak of the royal family of Tuyenvo, which was said to have 5 powerful experts at the Tao stage, with rumors suggesting that one of them had powers surpassing even the Tao stage. Could it be the true form of the one in the cage? Old man turned around and spoke loudly now. There's also the attack from the major sects. The Heavenly Autumn Valley is now in a critical state of survival. The Seven Hades looked down at the young master's corpse lying scattered on the ground. The heir of the Heavenly Absolute sect was bound in the Heavenly Autumn Valley, all handled by Feng Dao, his hands clasped together softly. I must seize the time to enter seclusion. If that powerful expert appears, I will stabilize my spirit. The Seven Hades bowed his head during the days of my seclusion. I still hope that Feng Dao will take care of the Heavenly Autumn Valley for a while. Hearing this, Feng Ha felt a bit awkward and remained silent, and time passed. He sat dazed, resting his chin on the table. Tran Hai urged, "Hey kid, hurry up and pack. We need to take advantage of the few people left to ring the bell." The girl spoke up. "Aha, come help me arrange the food." But there was no response, so both turned back to see him approaching and asked, "Hey kid, you're not planning to help that old man, are you?" Not getting a reply, Tran Hai had to resort to a trick, slapping Feng Ha on the face. He shouted, "Let me remind you, we are not opponents of a nation right now. This chaotic Heavenly Autumn Valley isn't just relying on a name. Only a face like yours could solve this," as he pressed his palm against Feng Ha's cheek. Now he was dissatisfied and spoke up. "Senior, let me think a bit longer. Wait until dawn and I'll give you guys an answer." After that, Feng Ha lay down on the bed but couldn't sleep. His eyes wide open, reflecting on the days after his transmigration, always feeling happier than before. After all, in this modern world, he was just a nobody, a recluse that no one knew. The image of him excitedly playing games appeared. It was only in games that he could utilize his skills and make friends, striving every day within the game. What he wanted was merely recognition and the feeling of achievement from being a champion and a hero. Feng Ha fell into deep thought. Tran Hai was right. "I am just a mortal without any cultivation." Then, unable to contain his impatience, Feng Ha sat up, his gaze becoming determined as those in the Heavenly Autumn Valley acknowledged him. They needed him to stay. Suddenly, at that moment, a cascade of hair and a charming voice rang out, startling him. "Aha! If you die, who will take me to eat delicious food?" A flick on the forehead pulled Feng Ha back to reality. It hurt. She insisted, "If you don't go, I won't go either." The corners of his mouth curled into a slight smile as he rubbed his aching forehead. Feng Ha smirked. "With my special ability, I guess I'll just have to shamelessly consider myself the main character." This hero at that time, Tran Hai inside the ring, radiated powerful energy, boasting, "Feng Ha, I'm sure of it now." He appeared already knowing that you wouldn't listen to my advice. He was startled for the second time. Senior Tran Hai affirmed, "But if you've made your decision, I won't stop you anymore. In times of crisis, don't panic, kid. You've got a bit of my style now." He asked, "But the rumor that the royal family of Tuyenvo has cultivators at the nascent soul level is indeed not false. Although this level of power, the rumor says that the royal family has a martial artist at the nascent soul level, which is indeed true, although this level of power is just a bit. To me, it doesn't mean much, but with your current skills, what do you plan to do?" Feng Ha gently cupped the elder's face, reassuring him with a bright smile. "Don't worry, I've got a clever plan up my sleeve." Ngok Thu looked up at the circle of the magic array, realizing that the 5 elemental sects were suddenly causing trouble. It must be an order from the royal family. Finally, the royal family is taking action. My days of lurking in the shadows are coming to an end. He thought to himself, 3 years, then another 3 years. Soon it would be 15. When I return, I won't be the illegitimate child carrying shame anymore, but suddenly a hand landed on Ngok Thu's shoulder, giving it a firm pat. "Hey there," Feng Ha appeared, and despite Ngok Thu's surprise, he declared, "I'm giving you a chance. Do you want to be a good person?" Confused, he turned back and asked, "What do you mean?" Feng Ha's hand tightened into a fist, a wicked smile spreading across his face. Right now, he was beaten and lying helplessly on the ground, trembling and crying, "Mom, I want to go home!" After collecting the item, Feng Ha praised, "Great job." He then stuck out his tongue to lick the corner of his mouth while his hands twisted together, making cracking sounds. Looking at Ngok Thu like a hungry wolf, he quickly grabbed more, panicking, "Hey, Feng, what do you want to do?" Feng Ha laughed with satisfaction, saying it straight to him. Then he rushed in to attack him, his loud scream echoing. At that moment, Ao Nuong was sitting on the roof, a bit anxious, looking around, wondering what was going on. Where on earth did Aha go? Just as she was worrying, someone from behind grabbed a sharp knife and approached it. Was Mo Kong-tu. He thought to himself, thankfully, I still have the dagger my father gave me in my pocket. Otherwise, I would really be tied up and dead by this spiderweb. Mo Kong-tu raised the knife in his hand, saying, You all caused this prince to be trapped, just let the woman go. Die! But quickly, Ao Nuong discovered and kicked him in the face. Mo Kong-tu fell down with a loud thud, and she turned around, huffing in annoyance. Then she jumped down, continuing, Turns out it's that annoying little brat of yours. He was now in a pitiful state, clutching his chest in pain and cursing, Damn it, just a witch. But before he could finish, Ao Nuong mercilessly stomped his head into the ground, the bones in Mo Kong-tu's body cracking loudly as they broke. She asked, Have you admitted defeat yet? If you're not satisfied, we can keep going? He was already terrified, trembling and stammering, Please spare my life. I won't dare again, Ao Nuong praised. Good job, now hand over the delicious food you have on you. I'll spare your life. Transitioning to the courtyard of Makangok-thu, he was no different from Mo Kong-tu, beaten to a pulp and groaning. Mama, I want to go back to Fong Ha. After gathering a bunch of items, she was so happy that she swayed, counting 7, 8, 9 items, then gleefully collected them all back. She thought to herself, this method of seeking power is quite refreshing. 2 fingers pinched together, Fong Ha softly said, Not bad, and turned to the soul realm in his mind to check it out. Then his finger pointed at the floating orbs, which lit up, revealing information about the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart technique, the strongest body training method. The Zhuanvo Kingdom can provide practitioners with an endless source of blood energy, thereby enhancing the blood energy of ordinary cultivators, which only the royal family can cultivate. Only they can cultivate, collecting 12 out of 25 fragments to unlock new skills. Fong Ha smiled, not expecting that the soul realm in his mind could directly observe the collection attributes. I should have come here to check sooner. There are still over 10 fragments needed to collect for the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart technique, but then his gaze fell on Ngok-thu, hesitating. If he just beat her, the chances of getting drops would be even lower. Should I continue or not? He was no longer arrogant, stammering, Please spare me, senior, please don't hit me again. Thoughts flashed through Fong Ha's mind. I might have just discovered a new rule. If the power levels of both sides are too far apart, it will lower the chance of attribute drops in a short time when beating one person. The drop rate will also decrease. Instead of wasting time here, it would be better to find someone to help me verify. After thinking, he turned and left. Farewell, Fong Mao. I'll come back another day. Ngok-thu trembled, asking, Will you really come back? Back here, Ao Nuong was gobbling something. Seeing Fong Ha return, she was overjoyed, finally finding Aha. Fong Ha was confused. Ao Nuong, where did you find that pill? Don't just eat anything. She tossed the pill up, laughing joyfully. What's this pill? She tossed the pill up, giggling with delight at this little pill. This is what that young master from the Heavenly Supreme Sect gave me. It's incredibly delicious. Little sister is offering it. Come on, give it a try. You opened your mouth, but then you covered it helplessly, refusing, saying you don't need it. That little sister can eat it herself. Thinking to myself, from a human perspective, this color is a bit much. Feng Ha suddenly remembered something and spoke up. Wait, you said it's the young master from the Heavenly Supreme Sect. And we caught him. Your expression darkened, a sinister intent appearing as you asked, Where is he? Lead me to him. Little sister didn't refuse and pulled Feng Ha along. I get it now. I really can't deal with you. You don't like the elixir that I once ate, do you? That's why you're going to find that guy to get a new one. Little sister just ran off teasing Feng Ha. Why are you acting like a child? You looked a bit confused, but still explained, Little sister, you've misunderstood. After that, Feng Ha sighed, but was secretly pleased. I wonder what that young master will drop. The scene shifted to the prison of the young master of the Heavenly Supreme Sect. Little sister kept eating, and you waved to the young master. It's been a day since we last met. Your appearance has changed quite a bit. The young master, injured from her attack, retorted with sharp words. You're here to help that woman get the antidote, aren't you? However, he still had arrogance in him, ordering, kneel down, this young master will consider giving you the antidote. Feng Ha, hearing this, was a bit surprised and asked antidote for what? The young master was furious, his face full of rage, laughing. That foolish woman wants me to give her food. I gave her the heart poison elixir. I didn't expect her to actually eat it. He raised the skull high with a dark aura, shouting, The heart poison elixir can kill a master. If she eats that many, she'll be done for very soon. Both of you were confused by this and then turned to each other bewildered. You tossed the elixir into little sister's mouth, chuckling. Young master, little sister is actually a spider that already carries poison. Giving her the heart poison elixir won't do anything, it'll just add more to her. The young master was taken aback. What, Feng Ha softly replied. Actually, I just wanted to find you to have a little fun. You clapped your hands together, your voice turning cold. But right now, you deserve to be beaten to the point where you can't live a normal life. He was frightened and stunned. You dare touch me, the Heavenly Supreme Sect will wipe out your entire family. As soon as he finished speaking, Feng Ha, hot-tempered, launched an attack straight at the young master's head. Damn you! At this moment, both sides were balanced again, and he cried out, I'm done for! The young master fell to the ground, beaten to a pulp, causing little sister to exclaim, Aha, I can't see what he looks like anymore. Feng Ha, seemingly not wanting to let up, reached down to grab his collar, lifting him up. This young master will tear you apart sooner or later, so you won't die peacefully. You really showed no mercy, delivering a powerful punch that sent him flying up with a loud shout. Get lost. Just like that, the young master fell hard to the ground. Feng Ha thought to himself, this young master might be too weak. After all that beating, he only dropped 2 light attribute items, but Feng Ha then absorbed them all, pondering better than nothing. The corner of your mouth slightly opened, releasing a wisp of smoke from within as your gaze fell upon the decayed body of the young master, confirming your earlier suspicions were indeed correct. The target was hit too poorly, and being struck too many times really caused the attribute drop rate to decrease. This limitation prevented me from taking full advantage. These useless fools? I need to find a new opponent to fight. At this moment, the young lady spoke up, asking, Aha, does he still have that round pill on him? She radiated a dazzling light, expressing that she still wanted to eat, while Feng Ha raised her hand to shield her eyes from the brightness. You looked at the rays of light and asked the young lady, Is that light around you? Just then, Tran Hai burst out cursing loudly. Damn it, she's about to break through. Feng Ha felt confused about the breakthrough. He lowered his glasses and commanded, Bring out your divine wheel for me to see. The young lady quickly agreed, and the divine wheel soared out, the light flashing as her divine powers reached the first level of celestial realm, truly feeling the increase in strength. Tran Hai assessed that after arriving at the heavenly eternal valley, this young lady had indeed consumed a lot of good things. The magical beast could accumulate these foods into even better cultivation. Feng Ha was a bit surprised. Is that really possible? She focused her strength in her hands and said, Look, I've just comprehended this. You placed your hands on your hips, confirming the new poisonous attack attribute. Not bad, Feng Ha said, raising 2 fingers and waving them, but I'm immune to all poisons. He pulled out a mirror and shouted, Immune to all poisons, you little brat, take a look at your own face. Feng Ha looked at the bloodied face in the mirror, feeling dissatisfied, his whole body trembling as he thought to himself, No way. My poison resistance has lost its effect. No, it should be said that due to the increased realm, the young lady's poison was stronger. Suddenly, countless young ladies appeared before him, causing a headache. There were too many young ladies, and Feng Ha fell into a daze, feeling dizzy. Suddenly, a sweet kiss was placed on your cheek. It was the young lady who had kissed Feng Ha's cheek. But you suddenly turned completely red, your eyes wide open, realizing that she wasn't kissing, but biting your cheek, causing Feng Ha to scream in pain. Ouch, young lady, why are you biting me? Tran Hai cursed. You idiot, she's sucking the poison out to help you. Feng Ha awoke. Really, it seems like there's no more golden ring. He was informed that the little girl had entered the divine realm, and her poison had greatly increased compared to when she was in the opening realm. Now, do you understand how important the influence of realm is on divine powers? Tran Hai glanced at you. With your current cultivation, if you want to fight against the royal family's Zhuan Vo, you'll just be walking to your death. You pondered, thinking about being cut down by a sword, then hurriedly exclaimed, So, Elder, is there any way to quickly increase my realm? He chuckled lightly. There's no easy path to increase your realm. You can only rely on your own efforts to accumulate gradually. He pointed out, However, our Elder can also give you some guidance to help you achieve results much faster. Feng Ha clasped his hands respectfully, hoping the Elder would provide more guidance on raising his cultivation. Tran Hai instructed during the practice of divine powers and various techniques. Strengthening the soul, spirit, and physical strength will lead to an increase in realm. If you encounter divine techniques, you'll understand and learn quickly, but you lack the process of refining yourself. That realm can't be increased, Feng Ha thought to himself while gathering the attribute shards which granted him skills that usually took many years to cultivate. Although the supernatural ability is an attribute that can help me bypass the cultivation process, it doesn't allow me to increase my realm. The levels are like character ranks. To increase my realm, I can only rely on slow cultivation starting from level 0. He presented 3 volumes of cultivation methods. A mortal wanting to enter the Luan realm must first practice physical cultivation methods, but our ancestor doesn't have such methods. At that low level, he pointed out, Senior, I have a set of physical cultivation methods called the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique. Tran Hai stroked his chin, pondering the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique. At the same time, The sect representatives under the Emperor's orders were besieging the Heavenly Eternal Valley and were in the conference room of the Heavenly Absolute Sect. A man spoke up. "All sect leaders, my son has been captured by the Heavenly Eternal Valley. The elders of the sect were also killed by the sword energy of the seventh mechanism. The situation is not as easy as the court has claimed. We can't act recklessly like before. We must strategize and prepare. This is the Heavenly Absolute Sect's leader, Mo Fuki, who said loudly, 'Have we all been played by the court?' The court's intelligence must have issues." Mo Rung agreed. "Indeed, the power of the seventh mechanism is clearly at its peak. How could they have such strength?" Another man laughed. "That little emperor must want us to be the vanguard. Otherwise, if it wasn't for the benefits promised by the court, we wouldn't have stepped into this dirty water." This is the leader of the five-element Sectu. So Cao, who excitedly shouted, "Don't rush, the martial emperor has already arranged insiders in the Heavenly Eternal Valley. Don't forget that common technique." Song Ni's gaze sparkled with deep thought. He analyzed that anyone with royal blood or nobility granted royal blood could transmit information in any situation. Even through any obstacles, Fuki's voice turned cold. "We just need to use the dragon vein to contact an insider there. Then we can clarify the real situation of the Heavenly Eternal Valley," Tu Han expressed. "If that's the case, Brother Tu, why aren't you casting the spell?" He replied, "You should know that opening the secret technique consumes a lot of power." Fuki added, "Using royal blood to cultivate that technique will heavily pollute oneself." He continued, "Even if it can be eliminated later, it will still cost a lot of energy. Plus, there's the backlash from the secret technique, which causes significant harm. So didn't think this old man is just beating around the bush to take advantage." After that thought, he presented an electric orb. "Brother Mo, rest assured, we won't let you waste anything." "Dao, brother, please take a look. This is a 5 Thunderbull, a thunderstone refined from the battlefield below." The orb shone brightly, and so Cao continued, "Its power is equivalent to a strike from the first level of the Dao stage. This 5 Thunderbull is a gift for you." Seeing this, Fuki was immediately startled. He turned to call Song Nai. Song Nai replied yes, and then obediently knelt down, offering her hands to So Cao in admiration. "What a stunning female servant! The master of the sect is truly fortunate." His eyes narrowed, letting out an "oh" as he looked down at Song Nai, who was as delicate as a fragile flower. So Cao placed the orb in her hands, reminding her, "You must hold this tightly for your sect leader. If it breaks, you won't be able to bear the consequences." Behind them, there were many sinister smiles. Dianan opened a box, laughing. "Master Mo, this is the Feng Hua Bingan herb from Mount Thuong Lan. Even those at the Dao stage need it to restore their soul." Mo Rung introduced, "This is a protective mirror that I invited a master from the capital to refine a few days ago." Tu Han chuckled softly. "This old man's treasures are few. This pill can heal wounds and increase cultivation. It's the best among all spirit pills." They flocked to his side. Tu Han chuckled softly, saying that his treasure wasn't many, but this pill could heal wounds and boost cultivation. It was the best among all the elixirs, and they were flocking to it. Song Nai flashed a sly smile. "My little treasure, it's better if you take my precious and go." "My precious is better, this isn't bad at all." She could only lower her head in silence against the sinister laughter of those people. The rich one spoke up, asking, "We're all old friends. Why are you being so polite? How can I accept this?" His gaze sharpened. "Song Nai, let's get going. Quickly activate the dragon vein and send it out. All the sect leaders just wait there." Song Nai immediately gathered her power and obeyed the command while Han was stunned and shouted, "Wait, Tian Tuyet, you can't do this, it's not appropriate!" So Cao also shouted in agitation. "We were worried about your body getting harmed, so we offered many treasures as compensation, and you let a maid take action. Don't worry, my friends. This woman was personally taught by me. Aside from her slightly weaker cultivation, the dragon vein and the techniques she uses are no different from mine." Voices of argument erupted. "Can they really be the same?" "Exactly." Song Nai slightly opened her eyes. A surge of energy shot up. She announced, "I've contacted the insider." Song Nai recounted. "He said his name is Mac An, a member of the Forbidden Army who later joined Thien Thu Kok and has now become a senior official." The rich one shouted, "Our luck isn't bad. We've contacted a big shot for the first time." Song Nai inquired about the remaining shadow guards in the valley and the situation of that old man. He laughed with a sly tone. "Song Nai, my fellow sect leaders, and I will reward you handsomely." She obediently listened in silence while the rich one was in the room with Feng Ha. He lay on the bed wondering what the heck is going on. The heavenly eye opened. "The insider of the imperial court in Thien Thu Kok is here. I am the hidden guard, Mac An, currently a senior official of Thien Thu Kok." Feng Ha questioned, "Is this a public conversation? What's the situation with the old Sword King?" Regarding the old Sword King, he has discovered the secret of life and death and is preparing to break through to the Dao stage. Thoughts flashed in his mind. The old Sword King might be the headmaster, right? I didn't expect him to have such a title. Fong Ha sat up suddenly and whispered, I remember now. This is indeed the dragon vein technique mentioned in the 9 Dragons Sacred Heart technique. I didn't expect it to be revealed like this, but it makes sense. Thoughts raced in his mind. The understanding of humans in this world is still not enough for them to grasp the existence of someone called a hacker. The conversation resumed. Macan Sr., where are my 15 insiders? What are their names? The other 15 are all my subordinates, including... Fong Ha picked up the paper a bit surprised. He didn't expect the other party to directly deliver the information to him. At that moment, Tron Hai opened the technique and spoke, Kid, I've looked through the 9 Dragons Sacred Heart technique. It's quite effective. Practice it well, and it will surely help you increase your cultivation. If it's a complete technique, that would be great. Fong Ha presented the paper saying, Senior, I happen to have a technique that can be perfected, but I need your and Ao Nuong's help. The cold night had fallen below. A man appeared, introducing himself. I am Mac and a person from Tien Thu Kok. I have discovered a loophole in the 5-element Great Formation and am currently thinking of a way to dig a secret path out. This matter cannot be delayed. Send someone to eliminate them. This person is the senior official of Tien Thu Kok and Kai Vu, whose real name is Mac An. Then a shout came from outside. Mac An opened the door and entered. Is there no one here? He was suspicious. Is someone eavesdropping? When the hidden door opened, there was no one inside. He suspected that someone might be eavesdropping. Just at that moment, Fong lowered himself down and came out right behind the hidden area where Tran Hai was responsible for creating wind below the sounds of fighting, and his questioning echoed. Who are you? He asked softly as Mr. and Mrs. Lai's cries echoed in the Tien Thu Valley tonight. Fong used the celestial absorption technique to deal with all the infiltrators. After that, with the help of Chu Ao Nuong, the remnants of the 9 Long Sacred Heart technique were collected and completed under the guidance of the elder Tran Hai. Fong spent the entire night refining this 9 Long Sacred Heart technique. The next day at Tien Thu Palace, the elders urgently convened a meeting regarding the incident with the 16 disciples of Tien Thu Valley, one of whom sat in a chair looking like a cocoon. That was the secluded elder Loi Tiu, pointing and speaking, Everyone, what about the injuries of those people? We have also examined the injuries and concluded that they were caused by the celestial absorption technique. Isn't that just some tricks from the Tian Tuyet sect? Trong Duyet said, causing confusion among everyone. Truck Van asked if they wanted to capture their young master back. Fong, as a guest elder, was also present. Loi Tiu spoke loudly, naming the expert from the Tian Tuyet sect. He's probably still in the valley. We must find him, Shuyen Nuyen opposed. But what good will it do to find him? Right now, we need to stabilize people's hearts so that the disciples can continue to cultivate and improve their abilities to prepare for battle. Kan Nai argued, what if that guy secretly attacks others? Truck Van agreed. Exactly, finding that expert from the Tian Tuyet sect is the way to calm everyone down. A soft laugh echoed. They're all fools. A woman spoke up. Only Suyen Nguyen understands. This person was the 5th elder Than Hu Tu. Kan Ni angrily slammed her hands on the table, shouting, You green-haired one, who are you calling a fool? She softly pointed out that capturing just 1 or 2 of those attackers wouldn't be of much use. Hu Tu analyzed, If they could enter here once, they could do it again. Right now we need to stabilize people's hearts to improve their abilities. Otherwise, they'll just become easy prey for them. Fong rested his chin on his hand, silently observing the boring argument before him. Kan Ni still wouldn't back down, insisting, If we can't catch the enemy, how can the disciples train? Hu Tu countered, If we don't have a solid training time, how can we win against the enemy? The girl waved her hands, stammering, That! Trong Duye clasped his hands and spoke, Everyone, let's stop arguing. We'll quietly send a few people to investigate without disturbing the disciples' training, okay? This was the 4th elder Trong Duyet, nicknamed Bao Tu, responsible for daily tasks in the valley, doing the heavy work that the other elders wouldn't do. But the argument still echoed, and Loi Tiu shouted, Right now, people's hearts are in chaos. Investigating secretly will only make them more anxious. Shuyen Guyen opposed. How long will this secret investigation take, Truck Van? You won't stand by my side. You're really two-faced. Hu Tu laughed loudly. At this moment, Trong Diet trembled in fear behind Fong Ha. He cleared his throat, calming his voice. Everyone, I have a plan that can ensure the safety of the disciples while also speeding up their cultivation. Everyone immediately turned their attention to her. She stepped forward, pressing her ample chest against the girl's face, teasing loudly. You still know how to use that, huh? I thought you only knew how to tease everyone around like how you treated that junior named Ngok Thu. Juyen Guyen advised Fong Dao Hu not to pay attention to what the 5 elders said about Thieu. She's got issues, so don't mind it. May I ask what plans Fong Dao Hu has? Hu Zi turned with a hint of surprise. Elder Liu, why are you also analyzing the poor disciples who were all targeted last night? They all share a common trait: they were poisoned while wandering alone late at night. His hands clenched tightly as he softly replied, "I could only choose that moment. Otherwise, I would have been discovered." Feng Ha chuckled lightly, acknowledging this. "As long as we ensure that the inner disciples, especially those who were attacked last night, remain vigilant, the evildoers won't dare to strike again." Huzi sat down and laughed heartily. "It's really that easy." The cultivation methods of the disciples in the valley are different. Some require specific times and places to practice. So how can we ensure they separate from the group at any time? Juvan and Kan Nai were silent, unable to refute this. Feng Ha presented a book, smiling lightly. "As long as we find that inner spy first. Everyone practicing the same cultivation method would be enough. I have a copy of the 8-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique. It's the strongest cultivation method of the royal family Zhuanvo," a loud voice exclaimed. "What you just mentioned is the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique. But we all heard it's the 9. He raised the book high. "My 8-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique is different from the 9. The 9 requires the blood and lineage of the royal family to cultivate. Mine has no such restrictions." The headmaster sat quietly, listening as he continued. "If you want to quickly advance your cultivation, this is the best choice." Feng Ha scoffed. "This is a cultivation method that benefits everyone." "I bet you're worried you won't find the second copyright," Huzi questioned, slightly doubtful. "Such a good technique, why would you share it with us?" Feng Ha winked. "Of course I can't just give it away to a few people, but I have a small condition." At that moment, Trong Duye quietly broke into a sweat, hesitating to speak. "Senior Feng, just tell me what you want. No matter what treasure it is, as long as it belongs to Tianthu Valley, we will offer it with both hands." Feng Ha twirled his finger, smiling with delight. "I don't need any treasures. I just want to interact with you a bit." Hearing this, the elders were astonished, shouting, "Just that simple interaction." His face lit up as if radiating brilliance. "I, Feng Ha, only have one wish: to make friends through martial arts and exchange with heroes and talents." Saying this, Feng Ha presented an item. "If you all here can help me fulfill this dream, then this 8-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique will belong to Tianthu Valley." Outside, a sudden scream echoed, "Feng Dao, you just stick to that!" A while later, Trong Duye suddenly appeared with a huge bump on her head, crying uncontrollably, "Senior Feng, please go easy on me!" Feng Ha waved his hand, flustered. "Little sister, please don't say things that might be misunderstood." Then he secretly smiled, grateful for the support of the 6 elders present. Only then could he sweep out the 3 sword techniques of Tianthu Valley: Zhuanthu Nat Ki Sword Technique Ba Loi, 6 Sword Technique, and Thuong Nguyet Te Sword Technique. At this moment, Feng Ha suddenly remembered something. "Right, little junior sister, there's something I forgot to mention. Please help me convey that my 8-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique has a small flaw during the training process. There will be times when the illusionary sound makes the girl confused, repeating the illusionary sound." Feng Ha takes out a piece of paper and writes that no matter what sound is made, you just need to recite a phrase in your mind. "I am Makan, I am Makan. Please help me, please help me. I'm being hunted by a nascent soul expert, but I'm not worried because his horse can't run as fast as I can." Everyone remember this carefully. After hearing it, they nodded in understanding. In the blink of an eye, the next day came, and the training ground was led by 6 elders with the 8-Dragon Sacred Heart Sutra very quickly. It was widely spread to the disciples. The 8 of them continuously raised their hands, mumbling, "I am Mac-An, I am Mac-An. Please help me, I'm being hunted by a nascent soul expert." But there was no panic, because his horse couldn't run as fast as I can. The disciples of Tien Thu Kok practiced day and night, their minds also stabilized. More importantly, the first-level protective beasts of Tien Thu Kok were even more closely guarded by the united and affectionate disciples. "I am Mac-An, please help me, I'm being hunted by a nascent soul expert." But there was no panic because his horse couldn't run as fast as I can. Mac-An gritted his teeth, wondering who was playing tricks here. "Right now, I can't use the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique to send messages outside anymore." At that moment, the 2 of them stood on the roof looking down at Feng Ha, nodding in appreciation. "Your little plan is quite clever. No matter what world it is, this kind of chaotic operation is extremely effective." Ao Nuong hesitated to respond, then said some strange words. After that, she tilted her head and asked, "Why not just kill them all? Isn't this very risky?" Tran Hai agreed. "That's right. Keeping them alive is naturally because there's still room to exploit." He smiled and continued to explain that only the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart Technique isn't enough. Next, we need to find a technique to enhance the magic. Feng Ha rested his chin, pondering, "A technique to enhance magic, huh?" Then he raised his hand and a stream of energy immediately appeared at his fingertips. "I have a way," he said. He continuously flicked Ao Nuong's hair while grinning mischievously. "Ao Nuong, I need to go out. How far can your earth-crossing technique take me?" she mumbled. "After my level increases, I can go a bit further than before." 2 strands of her hair gently swayed. If not, Ao Nuong sweetly looked at him and replied, "Let's give it a try." The scene shifted outside the Fong Kong formation. The sky changed color, extremely peaceful. At this moment, So Cao complained, "We've been suffering for 2 days following Mac-on's instructions. Not a single piece of news." The man beside him agreed, "Yeah, waiting like this won't solve anything." Turning to Fu Kui, he questioned, "Has Song Nai been able to contact Mac-on yet?" Suddenly, Song Nai coughed up a mouthful of bright red blood, her whole body trembling uncontrollably. Her voice became broken. "The Long Meridian and Ming technique has issues. It seems to have been disrupted by someone else." He responded with suspicion. "There's a problem right at that moment." Fu Kui didn't hesitate to slap the opponent. "I see the problem is you. The Long Meridian and Ming technique is so easy to disrupt." So Cao spoke up to reassure Mo Huin she has no reason to deceive you. Then he crossed his arms full of meaning, explaining further, "Moreover, whether the secret technique has issues or not, you just need to check once to know." Tiu Han shouted loudly, "Tien Tuyet Dao Hu, everything you brought out before has already been taken away." Mo Dong is so outraged that Chen is still pretending like this. It's really hard to take him seriously now. His face suddenly darkened with pressure as he inched closer. Mo Huin, after all, the matter of that sect leader being targeted by the Heavenly Forever is serious. It's not impossible for the Kok Vei to get killed outside, right? Although Fu Kui's face was pale, he still tried to stay calm. "You all take your time to talk," he said, raising his hand. "I can handle this myself." Just then, a low voice unexpectedly rang out, "I am Mackin, I need assistance, I'm being hunted by a nascent soul expert." But he wasn't worried at all because his horse couldn't outrun me. Fu Kui, suspicious, asked, "Are you really Mackin? I am the sect leader of Tien Tuyet Mon and I have something to ask." Hearing this, Mac-an immediately raised his voice. "So you're the sect leader of Tien Tuyet Mon, your son is in my hands. If you want him to live, come here quickly." "Bow down to my grandfather!" he exclaimed in shock. "What?" Fu Kui could no longer keep his composure. "Damn it, what have you done to my son?" he calmly recounted. "Aside from beating him like a chicken to the point of blood and flesh, mixing his face swollen and bones shattered, I didn't do anything else." After finishing, Fu Kui cursed angrily. "You bastard, you're so bold! Return my son." At that moment, Fong Ha held on to Ao Nuong and soared up, challenging, "If you have the guts, come and take him." The voice came from the ring. "Kid, what do you want to do out here?" Fong Ha smiled and replied, "I'm going to learn a bit about the celestial breathing techniques from their Tien Tuyet Mon. I hope I don't run into someone as weak as Mo Kong too, or else I might not be able to gather the complete techniques." Ao Nuong hesitantly whispered, "Aha, I'm running out of strength." He quickly encouraged her, Sorry, let's get to the surface." Fu Kui, on the other side, continued to bluster, "Bring that name out here and I will make you into minced meat." Fong Ha smirked. "Oh, is that so?" At that moment, both of them broke through to the surface. "Hey, kid from Tien Tuyet, listen up! I am your grandfather, Tien Tan Fan." However, the sight of Song Nai lying in a pool of blood immediately struck their eyes. "Why is there a corpse as soon as we surface?" "We didn't just barge into someone's grave, did we?" What bad luck, what bad luck." Just then, a figure suddenly approached, blocking Fong Ha's view. Why did the sky suddenly go dark? At that moment, Fu Kui gritted his teeth, realizing his body was radiating a fierce killing intent. What the hell is this? All three of them widened their eyes. "Oh my God!" At this moment, Fu Kui commanded, "All sect leaders don't act recklessly, let me handle this." Fong Ha thought to himself. "So this is the big boss of Tien Tuyet Mon." Tran Hai, confused, spoke up. "I can feel the presence of several nascent soul experts." He also curiously asked, "What kind of karma have we cultivated to deserve this?" "Karma worse than those who rise from the dead," the old man replied. After that, Fong Ha quickly turned and whispered, "Ao Nuong, hurry and hide underground." She was startled and frightened. "This time I need to eat something to regain my strength." However, Fu Kui had lost all composure, going mad. Di Thien Tan Fan. A loud sound exploded in the air, smoke and fire thickly rising. A few minutes later, as the black smoke began to dissipate, Fu Kui stood in the hazy space filled with the smell of burnt flesh and arrogantly asked, "So you managed to dodge my attack?" He keeps blaming it on the fact that they took our son, and the death of the elder under his command is also his doing. However, in this situation, the eyes of the little girl suddenly lit up. "I can smell food on that fierce guy. If I can grab a bit, I might be able to escape." Tran Hai, scared, reminded that this is a Dao stage, not something the two of us can handle. Feng Ha stood up casually, bouncing back to stabilize himself. "We will definitely win." Saying that, he pinched the cheeks of the two people beside him and pulled them close. "Listen to me, I'm about to make arrangements." Right after that, Feng Ha stood at the forefront and the whole army charged forward. Understanding the situation, Feng Ha pointed directly at the face of the wealthy master and said, "Let me fight you one-on-one." Upon hearing this, he immediately launched an attack, warning not to regret it. Feng Ha shouted seriously, unleashing a flurry of punches and kicks, his body radiating an overwhelming energy. The sound of thunder echoed loudly in the air as Feng Ha gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with intense hatred. He swung his hand, striking straight at the wealthy man's face. But at that moment, Feng Ha's eyes widened in shock. He remained unfazed, smirking with hidden meaning, his hands completely unscathed. "The Tao stage is a suppressive existence for you," the wealthy man quickly responded to the attack. After that, Feng Ha quietly stood still, panting heavily, frowning to himself. "That hurt. My chest almost got ripped apart." The wealthy man's eyes turned red like a predator, tightening his fist and swinging it down towards him, focusing on the moment. Both powers collided, creating an extremely chaotic scene. Feng Ha's face was drenched in cold sweat, and his lips turned pale. His right hand felt completely numb. The wealthy man laughed maniacally, his enjoyment evident. The Tao breathing technique allowed him to condense his true energy without hiding the pleasure on his face. True energy and cultivation suppressed each other. How could you fighting alone be my opponent? However, at that moment, a shadow suddenly appeared from behind, striking his left cheek. The wealthy man's eyes widened in shock. In that instant, his mind seemed to spin. Just touching his skin rendered his body powerless. What kind of poison is this? Why can't I smell it? Tran Hai seized the opportunity to rush over and snatch the bag from him, causing the wound on the wealthy man's face to bleed profusely. He grumbled, "I said it was a one-on-one fight." Feng Ha smirked teasingly, saying, "You really believed it was a one-on-one? I thought you wanted to fight." "In reality, I was just a distraction." Meanwhile, the little girl ambushed from behind. The wealthy man's face was drenched in cold sweat, as if he had just taken a shower. Tran Hai dumped the contents of the bag out for our elder to see what was inside. "These herbs and potions can be eaten." Saying that, he threw them to the little girl who was eagerly waiting. Feng Ha tilted his head, carefully advising, "Time is tight. You should absorb them quickly." Then he raised his hand, addressing the wealthy master. "As for you, I'm sorry. I'm just taking your life while you're sick." On the other side of the thick smoke, the disciples are still waiting with their hands on their hips, wondering why the master hasn't finished yet. Dian An replied, "I don't know either, but the fog is blocking our view." Just as they finished speaking, a shadowy figure suddenly appeared looking at the tomb master, and then Feng Ha arrogantly lifted the wealthy man by the collar and inquired with hidden meaning, "The Heavenly Supreme Sect Master is dead. Do you sect masters want to follow along?" This image left the disciples astonished. The tomb master was killed. So Su Kao questioned, "Who exactly are you?" "You're really bold to hide it from me. I'm the headmaster of the first generation Hai Sin from the Heavenly Autumn Valley." Upon hearing this, he shouted back, denying it. Hai Sin died 700 years ago. Even if he was in the essence refinement stage, he has turned to dust and cannot come back to life. At that moment, Feng Ha coldly tossed the lifeless body of the wealthy man to the ground. "You mere mortals!" He waved his hand, creating a chilling, oppressive energy. "Who said I'm just in the essence refinement stage?" These formed stars twisted and sparkled in the sky. Feng Ha boldly challenged, "Do you know what this is?" They immediately shouted loudly, "The three powerful sword formations of the Heavenly Autumn Valley are indeed the sword formations that cultivators can condense their understanding of the sword path into. The deeper the understanding, the clearer the sword formation." A surge of electricity ran down Su Kao's spine, able to unfold three distinct sword formations like that. Clearly, this was not something for mere mortals. After listening, Feng Ha merely raised 2 fingers, then you all quickly snap your fingers. A sound rang out, breaking the silence in the air. After saying that, Feng Ha jumped up high, ready to set off. As soon as he finished, a dark night fell, leaving only the panicked screams of the group. After a while, Su Kao, feeling uncomfortable, rubbed his eyes repeatedly. Then he quickly opened his eyes, looking around in confusion. They were all trembling. "Am I still alive? Where's Hai Sin? That guy was just an illusion, right?" At that moment, the image of the wealthy man holding his head and gasping left him in utter panic. The tomb master's face was pale. He spat blood and came closer, saying, "You all have been played by that kid." It was now 2 hours later in the underworld at Feng Ha's forehead. Feng Ha murmured that father of mine is indeed still a bit stronger than his son. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. After a fight, he could gather enough celestial breathing techniques. The celestial breathing technique was enough. The spirit of wood was incomplete. A spirit of wood was incomplete. A bumper harvest. However, Feng Ha suddenly noticed something. He looked at the incomplete slave contract and wondered what the hell this was. Could something like this fall out too? At that moment, Feng Ha excitedly pointed at it. "Let me see how this slave contract works." The wind howled continuously and the system quickly appeared. The slave contract changed, controlling life and death, transmitting information from afar, restricting actions. Feng Ha looked at it suspiciously. This really resembles those old trashy styles. In the morning, at the assembly point of the major sects attacking the Heavenly Autumn Valley song, Nai's face was blank and pale, her eyes hollow, not caring about her surroundings. In the underground cell, she wearily leaned against the wall with chains still tightly wrapped around her neck, however, at that moment. Song Nai's eyes suddenly sparkled with a strange light. Feng Ha, on the other side of the screen, hurriedly called out, "Is anyone there?" Song Nai was startled by that light. "Who are you?" she asked, shyly poking my cheek. "Oh, right, my name is Tien Tan Fan." That name immediately made Song Nai excited. "You're the one who broke the Dragon Vein and the Ming Law, right? So you're the senior Tien Tan Fan who defeated the Sectmaster. How can you use the summoning technique? Only those who have signed a contract can do that. You look confused, scratching your head. I have my own way." Suddenly, Song Nui bent down, making Feng Ha shout, "This is her!" She cried like a child. "Senior, please help me. Just take me away from that bastard, the Tian Tuyet Sectmaster." "In this lifetime, Song Nai is willing to be your servant," she said. Feng Ha was confused and asked, "Why does the Tian Tuyet Sectmaster want to kill you?" She replied, "He won't kill me." Then Song Nai cried even louder, "But he makes my life worse than death." She began to recount everything from 15 years ago when he falsely accused my parents of trying to assassinate him. Then he killed my parents and took over all our family's assets. But when he discovered I had talent for cultivation, he spared my life and pretended to be kind. He nurtured me to show off his great virtue. The smile of wealth became increasingly inhumane. From childhood to now, he has always treated me like an animal without saying a word. He would just hit me in front of Feng Ha's fearful eyes. She suddenly reached out to untie his clothes, even forcing me into a slave contract. A cold shock ran down my spine, making me cover my mouth. A device appeared on Song Nai's stomach, tightly binding her lower body. If I went against his wishes, I would suffer torment. Her voice became lower and lower. Day by day, night by night, my body is eroded by his words. Feng Ha couldn't help but frown. "Just being a servant, that's enough." Feng Ha shouted loudly, "I will definitely find a way to help you escape from that bastard's control." At his promise, Song Nai couldn't help but burst into tears. "Thank you, Senior. If there's anything I can do to help, just tell me. I will do my best." Feng Ha seriously questioned. "Then, let me ask you, after the 9-Dragon Sacred Heart technique was broken by me, did you receive any news from the internal affairs of the Tianthu Valley or from the court?" She slowly explained, "There hasn't been any news from the spies inside the Tianthu Valley, but the court has sent a secret message. Duke Ngui Kwak is on his way to the Tianthu Valley." Feng Ha continued to inquire, "I heard this Duke Ngui Kwaka is incredibly powerful. Do you have any intel on his strength?" Song Nui hesitated before answering. "He does have the strength of the original Dan, but he can't stay away from the royal city for too long." Feng Ha wondered, "Can't stay away from the royal city for too long? What does that mean?" She continued, "In fact, his real strength should be called the illusory Dan. The reason he has been stationed in the royal city all year round is to ensure the luck of the Tuyenvo kingdom doesn't weaken. Moreover, on the other hand, he also wants to borrow the support of the royal city to prevent his own realm from declining. More importantly, according to the judgment of those people, if Duke Ngui Kwak exerted all his strength, he could reach the Tianthu Valley in just 6 days. After leaving the royal city, the longest time to maintain the original on-realm is..." Song Ni's voice was low, about 7 days. Feng Ha smirked. "So after arriving at the Tianthu Valley, his original Dan realm can only be maintained for 1 day. You silently broke into a sweat, thinking that the Tuyenvo kingdom clearly understood this. That's why he is slow to take action. If the Tianthu Valley can withstand an attack from an original Dan realm for just 1 day, there will definitely be a chance of survival. That's why he was slow to act. If he could withstand the attack from a nascent soul expert in the Heavenly Eternal Valley for a day, he would definitely have a chance to survive." Feng Ha was confident in his heart that, moreover, the current legend of Feng Ha's battle against Kong would recycle and upgrade the opponent's cards, with the ultimate trump card being himself. Thinking of this, Feng Ha couldn't help but smirk. Perhaps he could firmly believe that it was a case of what goes around comes around as the scene shifted to Feng Ha's Quin Hoa villa. Loi Tiu rested his chin on his hand, mumbling to himself. He never expected that Mak Nguyen Long would actually come in person. This was bad news, and Shuyen Nguyen was equally worried. His original Dan realm could only be maintained for a short time. "Well, that's a good thing," Feng Ha said ambiguously. "Perhaps there are only 2 or 3 days left before Tien Thu Kok faces a decisive battle. We need to make the most of our time to move the disciples." At that moment, Loi Tiu suddenly slammed the table in anger. "We initially wanted to let the disciples escape through the secret passage, but we didn't expect the court's eyes and ears to be so vigilant, constantly sabotaging our plans." Just then, Feng Ha suddenly pulled out a piece of paper from somewhere and smiled, announcing that this was the list of spies. The two elders read it, their foreheads dripping with cold sweat. These people, weren't they the ones attacked by the people of Tien Tuyetmon before? Are they spies? Fong Ha scratched his head awkwardly, recalling that he hadn't mentioned the experts from Tien Tuyetmon coming to ambush. That's me. Then he explained, saying it was like this, like that, and so on. A few minutes later, Loi Tiu hurriedly ran off. All right, Loi, we'll go and take them out, Fong Ha shouted urgently. Old Loi, come back here! Hearing this, he paused. Fong Daohu, what do you mean by leaving them alive for another moment? Isn't that even more dangerous? Fong Ha smiled confidently. I've already disrupted their communication lines. Keeping them alive won't pose any danger. On the contrary, we still need their help to ensure the safety of the disciples of Tien Thu Coxi. At that moment, the three of them sat back at the table. Fong Ha began to explain that the royal family's eyes and ears had been surrounded by them, and now their communication lines were restricted. We can use the spies to spread false information. For example, saying that... At this point, his eyes lit up at the location of the secret passage. As soon as he finished speaking, Loi Tiu covered his face and shouted loudly, Duong Dong Kich Te, brilliant plan, Fong Dao Hu, you truly are talented. Fong Ha calmly replied, you two are overpraising me. That's right. How much chance does your sect leader have against Mak Nguyen Long in the state of Hudan Nguyen? At this moment, both elders fell silent, exchanging glances without responding. Then Shuyen Nguyen murmured, Mak Nguyen Long is the strongest in Tuyen Vo of noble status, possessing many treasures. If we face him, the outcome is hard to predict. Fong Ha's hands clenched tightly, trembling with anxiety. If only there were a way to quickly break through to the Dan realm. He thought to himself that these two elders probably didn't know that the sect leader hadn't broken through yet. Just then, Tran Hai suddenly appeared, mumbling. How could there be a way to break through so quickly? Fong Ha hesitated, looking at the senior without speaking. He knew the elder was reminding him not to interrupt. Tran Hai seriously analyzed. Although our ancestor can't help you break through to the Dan realm, he can help you break through to Hudan in a short time. At this point, Fong Ha couldn't help but rush over and hug him. Senior, do you really have a way? Tran Hai excitedly chuckled. After all, in my time, the Dan realm appeared everywhere, and the Dao stage was as common as dogs on the street. There are plenty of ways to break through. In front of this scene, the two elders were extremely bewildered. Loi Tiu thought to himself, does this little brat even know what he's talking about? Shuyen Nguyen thought that, judging by his tone, he seemed to really have a way. They exchanged glances and, without a word, decided to follow through. They exchanged glances without a word, knowing there was no choice but to follow through together. Tran Hai reminded you not to celebrate too soon. The price to pay for a massive breakthrough is steep. Fong Ha was surprised at the price, and at that moment, Liu gritted his teeth and shouted, I'll try no matter what the cost is, because Tianshu Valley will accept everything, even if it means fighting for it. If there's a way like that, then even if it costs Liu's life, it wouldn't be a problem. However, Tran Hai didn't care and continued to warn that the forced increase in power could only be maintained for a short time. After that, one would fall back to being an ordinary person, losing many supernatural abilities. Therefore, it could damage one's Dao heart to the point where they could never cultivate again. His voice grew heavier. Kid, even so, do you agree this warning must be said beforehand? If you really lose your ability to cultivate, then I won't bother with you anymore. Hearing this, Fong Ha fell silent, not uttering another word. At that moment, the two elders behind shouted, We are willing to bear all consequences. Just tell us how to proceed. Tran Hai immediately interrupted. Sit down with your talents. You won't be able to comprehend anything in less than 2 years. After that, they sighed in disappointment. Is the gap between us and Fong Dao Hu really that wide? At that moment, Fong Ha suddenly spoke up. Senior, if there really is a way to quickly increase cultivation, then He pointed at himself and said loudly, I agree to learn. Tran Hai, hearing this, hurriedly grabbed his collar. Kid, you need to think carefully. Is it worth it to pay such a price for Tianshu Valley? Fong Dao Hu has already done too much for Tianshu Valley. We can't let you take such a big risk. Tran Hai calmly explained, thanking the two for their concern, but he made his decision. Not just for Tianshu Valley, but also for myself. If I've chosen to be a hero, how could I abandon it halfway? Then he comfortably put his arm around Tran Hai's shoulder. You guys don't need to worry. Fong Ha is a tough guy. His heart was very determined. Nothing would happen. The elder angrily scolded, Foolish, do as you wish. Liu Tiu frowned in confusion amidst this overwhelming danger. Fong Dao Hu still wanted to help Tianshu Valley, and he sighed. No matter if Tianshu Valley survives this calamity or not, you will always be our benefactor. The two elders joined hands. I have nothing to repay you with. This sword technique is the culmination of my life's work. I hope it will be useful to you. After saying this, Liu Tiu suddenly turned to ask, Isn't this the sword technique we compiled back then? Yes, Shuyen Nguyen nodded. I didn't expect you to still practice it. He rested his chin on his hand, almost boasting, I've mastered up to the 12th sword. What about you? I'm the same, Sin Nguyen replied. At this moment, Fong Ha stepped forward, urging the two elders to make way. If we can complete this sword technique, we might just surpass the three great sword techniques of Tianshu Valley. Xin Nguyen gritted his teeth, regretting that the declaration of the martial empire came too quickly. If we had a few more years, I could definitely complete the 13th sword. He clenched his fist, rebutting, We don't need that long. Today we will finish the 13th sword. Then Fong Ha slyly continued, Let's have the two of you spar with me a little. They hugged each other, trembling in fear. Spar? How can we spar? The two words spar from Fong Ha evoked deep-seated fear in Lu Tiu and Liu Shuyen. He had been knocked out time and again, and Lu Tiu was no less competitive. They hugged each other, trembling in fear, needing to rub against each other Fong Ha's two words of rub against. It had awakened a deep-seated fear within Loi Tiu and Liu Xuan. He had been beaten unconscious time and again, and Loi Tiu was not any less formidable. After being severely injured time and again, it was only after a long while that the fierce man finally stopped. Fong Ha looked around, assessing the many properties of light that had fallen. Right after that, he hurriedly shouted again, but why couldn't he use his elemental abilities to compensate for his swordsmanship? Even after eating so much, he still couldn't think of the 13th sword. Fong Ha swung his hand, unleashing a complete sword technique, feeling like he was out of options. It seems he could only rely on himself to finish this. The two elders hugged each other, crying, Feng Daihu, are you coming back again? At this moment, a flash of light made them cover their eyes against the sight of Fong Ha still holding his hands together. The two elders were very curious about why their junior brother hadn't made a move yet. Loi Tiu hesitantly said, I'm ready to be hit. This showed that the light property could only help Fong Ha learn skills and techniques that already existed in this world. It completely couldn't create anything new. The intelligent sword heart could enhance the user's technique and understanding of swordsmanship, thus creating new sword techniques. A stream of light immediately appeared, and Fong Ha's entire body was immersed in a sparkling glow. The two elders watched in amazement as Fong Ha confidently declared that he had succeeded with the 13th sword. It was done. His eyes seemed to shine as he thought to himself that the intelligent sword heart once perfected was truly a world apart from before. With tears in his eyes, Loi Tiu said, This sword technique the two of us have studied for more than half our lives. I never expected our junior brother to complete it in such a short moment. Being able to live and see this sword technique completed was already worth it. This scene made Fong Ha stand by, helplessly smiling. He had just casually done something, yet they were so excited. This sword technique was the most important thing to them. Zhuyen Nguyen suddenly made a suggestion. This sword technique still doesn't have a name. I hope junior brother will give it one. Fong Ha, holding his chin, seriously thought about the name. Well then, let's call it... In the vast forest space, his determined voice rang out, Unmatched National Hero 13th Sword. As soon as he finished speaking, Loi Tiu's eyes lit up, Unmatched National Hero 13th Sword. Zhuyen Nguyen opened his mouth, praising the good name. Tran Hai hurriedly reminded, All right, take it easy. There are still more important things to do. Fong Ha reassured the two elders. The news about the secret path will be sent to the spies on the side of the secret path. They should prepare too. At this moment, both elders quickly ran off. We will follow junior brother's instructions. Tran Hai angrily grabbed a handful of Fong Ha's spiky hair, unable to hold back as he pulled Fong Ha along. You hurry and follow our ancestor back to close the door and cultivate. That hurts. The ancestor has already prepared that girl in advance. Hearing this, Fong Ha blushed secretly, thinking, prepared, what could that mean? The image of the little girl beside him acting coy immediately made Fong Ha nosebleed. The scene then shifted to the villa where Fong Ha lived. He lost his composure, anxiously bursting through the door. Aha, you're back, the little girl gently replied, hugging her chest. The image of the young girl beside him acting coy immediately made Fong Ha's nose bleed, and then the scene shifted to his villa. He lost his composure and hurriedly flung open the door. The young girl gently replied, Aha, you're back. At that moment, the little girl excitedly showed off the round objects called elixirs. We didn't sneak any of the pills, but if you can't finish yours, I can help you out a bit. Feng Ha panicked and shouted, Why doesn't it look like I imagined? Tran Hai angrily tugged at her hair. Don't! Thinking about eating this low-level elixir isn't enough for you, Feng Ha slowly approached, realizing that what the elder meant was to eat the elixir. Tran Hai explained sternly. Our ancestor back in the day was so powerful that he could start absorbing spiritual energy and turn it into spiritual power. However, there is one thing, but now the spiritual energy in the world has diminished and cultivators can't absorb the thin spiritual energy. They can only use the chi gathering pill to barely condense it, saying that he poured one pill into Feng Ha's hand. Kid, try using the chi gathering pill to condense the spiritual energy. He quickly tossed it into his mouth and chewed, but it seemed like nothing happened. Tran Hai excitedly shouted, "Then let's try more like the Luandan and the Huoyuan Dan." Feng Ha, sweating coldly in fear, said, "Don't, Elder, you're not paying attention and keep stuffing them into the kid's mouth. Eat more." "Eating less won't work." Feng Ha choked, struggling to speak. "Elder, I've already eaten too much at once." Just then, a fire phoenix suddenly appeared, shifting the scene to the outer Great Formation. 5 elements. Feng looked surprised. "Isn't that the divine beast of the Southern King?" So the rich and noble indeed sent him to be the vanguard. Then it unexpectedly changed direction and flew back, its body filled with the scent of burning flames. Above it sat someone proudly, and he quickly landed. His tone was extremely arrogant. "With the court backing us, you ants can't do anything. After all, you are the sect leader of the sects, yet you are as timid as a child." He casually scolded a bunch of useless people. This person was the Southern King of the Xuanwu Kingdom. The 8th stage of the celestial realm, Hongsho Kao, was confused and clasped his hands, saying that the Southern King's criticism was quite right. He slowly explained, "But we can ensure that the 5 elements Feng Great Formation. It can handle all the people of the Tianshu Valley." However, Hong was tired of being interrupted. "Shut up." Hong then waved his hand confidently, and at that moment the entire space seemed to sink into a sea of blazing red flames. They were astonished to see the 5 elements reversing. The entire Great Formation turned into fire. Hong glanced with a smirk and bluntly declared, "As long as the flames are abundant, I can control everything and destroy the Tianshu Valley without needing the state to intervene. One Southern King is enough. Zhu Yun, lead the way, hurry up." Kanhui urged everyone to keep close. At that moment, when the Southern King arrived, everyone in the Tianshu Valley was secretly leaving. To avoid leaking information, the Tianshu Valley created 2 secret paths, continuously chanting, "I am the secret path, I am the secret path." Those spies were Lu Xuan Yuan. They spread false news outside to mislead the enemy. Loi Tiu cautioned, "Be careful, disciple. You and the other disciples should leave through the secret path. If you encounter enemies, you must find a way to ensure everyone's safety. Don't engage in battle." Thuong Hai affirmed, "Master, don't worry." Xuan Yuan quickly reminded Loi Tu, "We have to set off now," Loi Tu said seriously. "Good kid, hurry up and go. I also need to go meet those trash outside." Then the Grand Elder dragged Tiu and the 6 other elders into the secret path to hold off the enemy and buy time for the disciples of the Heavenly Autumn Valley to escape. In a commanding voice, Master Thuong Hai warned his disciple to be careful and reported that the Southern King had received news from an informant that the people of the Heavenly Autumn Valley were escaping through the secret path. Just as they were about to escape from the Feng Kong Formation, a figure appeared before them. It was Kai Hong smirking as he said, "Looks like you guys have been played." Loi Tiu bravely blocked his path. "You really came?" Kai Hong, the son of the Southern King, wondered why there were only 2 of them. He looked down on them, not expecting anything from a bunch of useless people, and lowered his tone. "Loi Tiu, I've heard that you were beaten so badly that you couldn't break through anymore, crawling out like a dog from the cave. Are you asking for me to beat you a second time?" Mentioning the past made Loi Tiu extremely uncomfortable, and then So Cao added, "I've heard that Loi Tiu has injuries affecting his breakthrough." Unexpectedly, his injury was strange. "It was caused by the Southern King!" Loi Tiu seethed, gripping his sword tightly and decisively charging at Kai Hong. "Don't underestimate me." But Kai Hong merely expressed disappointment, saying he could fight without moving from his spot. "You are not worthy of me having to lift a finger." Another sword flew past Kai Hong's face as Xu Yen Nungu Yen joined the battle. "What if both of us are here?" Ki Hong warned. "Why are you in such a hurry to die?" He upgraded his technique stronger than before with the Liet Diem, then Dieu flames bursting forth powerfully as Ki Hong combined it with the sword in his hand, transforming it into a sword of fire. The young master, seeing this, felt pleased. The trash from the Heavenly Autumn Valley is done for. Loi Tiu felt a bit wary of this woman, but he boldly called for them to join him. Xu Yen Nuyen immediately got into position and the 2 of them leaped like horses. Kai Hong declared, "As long as we are here, you won't touch the Heavenly Autumn Valley," exuding killing intent. "You are merely enhancing your attack, a self-immolation of fire and flame." Before Xu Yen Guyen and Loi Tiu could act, they fell to the ground as Ki Hong approached them. "I know you are just stalling for time, so I won't kill you." Not only that, he also announced, "I will destroy the Heavenly Autumn Valley right before your eyes, so you know your sacrifice is completely meaningless," as Kai Hong thrust his sword into the formation he created. Then he ordered it to be set ablaze. Xu Yen Nungu Yen and Loi Tiu could only grit their teeth and endure as sparks fell from the magic circle, incinerating everything at the same time in Feng Ha's room. Feeling uncomfortable, Feng Ha sighed, "Senior, I've already consumed all the elixirs. Why is there still no effect?" Tran Hai explained, "Your physical body is strong, but the spiritual energy dissipated and gathered again only to be shattered by your powerful blood and ki. Even taking the elixirs can't condense the spiritual energy. I'm too exhausted, what should I do?" "Your body truly exceeds my understanding. According to Tran Hai and your situation, you must release your spiritual energy once. Then you can open the divine wheel." Fong Ha wondered, but where can we find a formation of spiritual energy now? He was confused and speculated, "Is it because I feel hot now because I've gained weight?" Tran Hai denied. "No, no," Tran Hai shouted loudly. "Kid, you're in luck. Our ancestor truly feels a lot of spiritual energy rushing towards us." Tran Hai hurriedly reminded him to seize the opportunity, saying there wouldn't be another chance. Fong Ha was still confused about what was happening, asking, "What the heck is going on, senior?" All he could see was Tran Hai constantly urging him to quickly absorb and refine the spiritual energy. Fong Ha swallowed so much that he was about to choke. The sudden surge of abundant spiritual energy overwhelmed him and he couldn't adapt in time. The sparks were about to fall on the house, pouring down like a heavy rain. Fong Ha screamed out due to the overload of energy, and Tran Hai realized the seriousness of the situation. This was bad. "There's too much spiritual energy. This kid's body can't process it all." Fong Ha kept screaming, "My body is too hot."